This is Brightside Home Theater. Hey, home theater nerds. Welcome to the Brightside Home Theater Podcast. The home theater podcast, it's all about the experiences, the sights,
the sounds,
the scenes. Oh, just like we rehearsed it.
Yeah. Just like we drew it up.
Just like we drew it up. We're getting good, John. We're getting good.
Yeah.
We're getting there somehow. How you been? How's
Good.
your week? Good?
I've been good. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, well, I know how your week has been, but
I
since
know.
we're in the show now, I'll ask you anyways.
It's been fine.
You?
That's show stuff. Show. This is Brightside, John.
Yep.
We leave that stuff to the outside.
That's right.
This is where I come to be happy and cheered, and have some fun. And speaking of having some fun, this is a negative and a positive to this.
Oh, okay.
The positive is you got a nice stack of Blu-rays I saw.
I did.
The
Yep.
negative is
And
the
I know the
Kaleidescape's
negative,
way
yeah.
on hold.
The negative is I got a nice stack of Blu-rays.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, I went a little crazy on Prime Day and
Nice.
got caught up on some stuff that I had been missing. And yes, it does put the Kaleidescape a little bit further in the rearview mirror. But I'm still full steam ahead on the Lumigen.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens with the Kaleidescape. I mean, I did put my pre-order in finally for Maverick, so I'll have it on the 31st.
Nice.
And
For that one? Hopefully you'll get that
yeah.
one for then.
I mean, I might get it a day or two early. I'm
On the
hoping.
30th. Well,
I
the
did it-
31st is Monday, right?
Yeah, I
hopefully-
used Amazon Prime, so I know sometimes they'll show up on like Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but yeah, I put that in today, and not today. I put it in a couple days ago. But
Sweet.
so yeah, bought a bunch.
Nice.
Now I got to
Yeah.
go. Now I got to get through them all. Although
Yeah.
I mean, again, I've got now 160 or so 4K Blu-ray discs. I've still only actually watched about 30 of them. Most of them I haven't even watched
Yeah.
yet. So
Yeah.
I mean, they're all movies I've seen, but I haven't sat down and watched the majority of the discs yet. Like I've got the entire Marvel saga, and I think I've only watched Shang-Chi, and that's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Yeah. Sure.
I'll get to them eventually, but
Well, that's the thing is that I've watched that since it came out. I've watched it on Kaleidescape. I think I'm about halfway through on Kaleidescape. Just,
yeah.
I put that on because that isn't even one of my favorites, but it is, I do like it,
It's not one of my favorite. I mean, it's not in the top 10 Marvel, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
the best one that came out last year. And
I like Black Widow better.
do you?
Yeah.
I mean, I
do.
like Black Widow too, and I know we're both in the minority there because most people don't. But I liked Black Widow a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I put them head to head, I guess, but I like Shang-Chi quite a bit too. So
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. They're good. Yep. And what'd you think? Did you get to hear it all? Did you get to hear Future DJ last week?
I did. I listened to the majority of last week's show. I listened to everything leading up to Steve.
Yeah.
I listened to Steve, and then when we came back to us, I got about halfway through that, and then
Look at you.
I moved on to something else. But I heard quite a bit of Future DJ.
Thank you.
So,
There he
yeah.
is. So
Yeah.
he'll be popping in from time to time when he deems it necessary.
yeah,
You never know.
Hey, everybody.
that's
Never know.
that's what makes it fun.
Exactly. And it's he popped in on with John Brock too. Because we were
I
talking.
did. I heard that too.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that
Yeah.
show today.
And it works really well because it's like John and I didn't expect to go back to just normal conversation. We thought we were
Yeah.
going to end on that, but like anything on a Takeover Tuesday, you never know where it's going to go. And we just kept talking, and I was like, wow, there's a lot here that people could miss. So
I heard all. I skipped the spoiler stuff because I haven't seen that movie.
Oh,
But
God, I
I
can't
came
wait.
I came back after it and listened to the end
You're welcome.
as well. So
Yeah, it's definitely a. I can't wait for you to see it. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So, but that's good. So you went back and you skipped over it. You used Future
I
DJ's
skipped
advice,
over
and everything was
Yep,
good.
I listened to Future DJ's advice and I skipped to
Cool.
2:18:30 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And continued on. So
The trick is when Future DJ does that, especially on that one, I have to create, or Future DJ has to create a gap. But then you don't know, like here's the timestamp. But wait a minute, now I just created a gap, but I don't know how long my gap's going to be. So
Listen
it's
to
like,
me brag about
okay.
the stuff I do.
So that's all right. The other way was better when I actually left the space when Future DJ knew. So
right.
anyways,
Yeah,
but
it worked.
It
though.
works.
It was pretty seamless listening to it. You didn't notice anything. So yeah,
Hey,
it worked.
there's
Pat
the
on the back
magic.
right there. By me, for me.
She got the magic.
You got the magic. Yeah. All right. What are we getting to here? Future DJ's all set. Everybody, you know what
Check
he
the
say.
show
He
notes.
always says, check the show notes. And let's get to promos. You ready for that?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Hey, if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you very much. But don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And what do they got to do? Something about mashed potatoes? What?
Mash that like button.
Mash the like button. There you go. I'm hungry.
Yeah, I
and
see.
You can follow along on Twitter at BrightSideHT, or you can also email us at brightsidehometheater@gmail.com. But actually, there's new. Did you ever? I didn't even create a graphic. I didn't have time.
Yeah, well, that I don't know. That doesn't work, or I don't have any
okay.
access to that.
All right,
so
we'll get
I
to
didn't
that.
Get any emails.
We'll get to that in
Yeah.
a moment. We'll get to that in a moment. So let's finish up on this stuff. BrightsideHometheater.com for links to the show notes, all sorts of fun stuff over there at BrightsideHometheater.com. Check out the website. And John, your favorite?
Patreon.com/The Brightside Home Theater.
Yes, it's Brightside Home Theater, not the Brightside.
Oh,
Home Theater.
Brightside Home
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you sound like the HT guys. They've always said that.
It's HT guys, not
yeah. No, don't go there. No, yeah. Right at patreon.com/Brightside Home Theater. One time, $1 a month at minimum, and as much as you'd like, but they'll take it out once a month, and most of it will go to us, but then we give half away to charity of the month, and this month's charity is breastcancer.org. And we will be doing that in 2 weeks, right? So, and you can go to breastcancer.org and donate right there just by clicking on the page, right top corner of the page. So pretty simple, pretty easy. The new thing that we're talking about, if you would like to reach me exclusively, you can now email DJ@brightsidehometheater.com. Super simple. Or you can reach John at, guess what? John at brightsidehometheater.com.
Yeah.
Or you can reach Steve. Come on, John. What do you think it is?
Steve at brightsidehometheater.com.
It is right. There you go.
Wow.
So Steve's works, actually.
Okay.
So something, the link went, I forgot to check up with you on that because I sent you and Steve those links.
Yeah, I never got
I
an
signed yous
email
both up for
or
it.
anything. Yeah, so
You know,
you can check into it.
yeah.
Because you said check your email and
it should be under your gmail.com, the Gmail
Yeah, but-
account that I use for this show that I send you.
oh, I went to my Gmail. I mean, I didn't check the Brightside Home Theater email.
No. Your J.
It came to me, right? Yeah. I didn't get it.
Okay, I'll try again. I'll look at it again. But if you'd like to
Okay.
email him, he'll just get flooded when he finally figures out how to get to it. But
Yeah.
DJ at Brightside Home Theater, John at Brightside Home Theater, or Steve at
Steve.
brightsidehometheater.com. Super simple. You can talk to each of us, and we'll see what happens. But those are the new email addresses. You can still email brightsidehometheater@gmail.com, but we're going to kind of go towards this one. this direction. I may actually come up with scenes at brightsidehometheater.com, and then that'll be what goes in the show and stuff. But they're not a lot, but I have to pay for each one. So, but you know how much I love money, John.
I know.
So I mean, half goes to a donation, the other half goes to your emails.
It helps with your allergy because any way you can just get rid of it.
Yeah, I'm getting a rash over here with all these donations. Speaking of which, the other way you can donate to the show is you can make a one-time donation by going to the website brightsidehometheater.com, and there's boxes of popcorn there. You can buy a small, medium, or large. Small's $5, medium's $10. And the medium and large is any amount, and the medium and large will get you access to the green room, where lots of fun stuff going on in there. We haven't had an argument yet
in here in
the green room. In
green
here,
room?
we're not in the green room anymore. But
I'm looking.
It's great. I'm liking it. It's great. Everybody's getting along. Everybody's helping each other out. We're talking about scenes and sales, and I think I've spent more money because of the green room.
Yeah.
DJ keeps posting all these sales.
I know.
Like, come on!
I haven't looked at this latest one. We could talk through it, and I can spend some more money.
Yeah, there you go. I know.
Spend some more of your money.
So, but yeah, that's all the fun stuff. John, what do you have this week for patrons?
So our patron of the week is Nathan Gronsky. Patron for 4 months. So thanks, Nathan.
Thank you, Nathan.
For that. And then a new activity patron this week. We got one new patron, Jason Story.
Yep. Thanks, Jason.
Signed up October 2022. So thanks, Jason.
And I never sent you the...
you didn't send me the totals.
Yeah. So we are now, that puts us at 26, and we're at 146 estimated monthly earnings. So we're moving on up there, John.
Nice.
Looking good. Thank you to everybody, whether you support us monetarily or not. Thank you to everybody for, what keeps us coming back here and sitting down. Well, that and John and I would probably do that. As we said earlier, we do this anyways.
Yeah.
But it's so much more fun with everybody. Because, and we've said this before, chat didn't have the same feedback.
No.
We had feedback over there and we loved it, and it makes you want
not as much.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. You're passionate, and we're just having so much fun. So thank you to everybody. We ready to get to, what do we got? Tweaks of the week.
Yes.
You got anything big?
No, I was just waiting for the sounder that I can't hear to finish.
That was my cue. You got anything big? Yeah. But then you just dropped the ball and said, "I'm waiting to hear the sounder." Picked off my lawn, you old man.
Yeah, no, I don't have any tweaks this week.
You want to talk about the one we were looking into?
It's the same one I talked about last week. The
chroma,
looking into the chroma. Well, yeah, we can. I don't have anything to report on it really because I don't know.
I talked to the owner
that much about it, but there's, we talked last week about how I was looking into the Lumagen, and I found a site that sells, a dealer for the Lumagen who also offers a software to do automatic calibration for the Lumagen, and it was called Chroma Pure, I think.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, and the package if you purchase the Lumagen from them, I think it's like $400 to get this package.
Right.
And if you want to buy the package separately, it's about $800. But basically, it includes the the calibration tool, and then the software. And it is supposed to, with just a couple of clicks, do a pretty accurate calibration. So. I had just sent it to you to see what your thoughts were on it, as far as what that might be like versus having, somebody that's trained to come in and do a calibration. But the biggest upside for me would be that, and I don't know that this will be the case every time, But with the last firmware upgrade that my projector had, it reset the whole thing back to factory settings.
Right.
Which was not a big deal because I'm really just using their preset picture modes with a couple of tweaks. So I was able to just go in and, basically I just go in and turn off MEMC and noise reduction and do a couple of things. And it wasn't super hard, but I would be very unhappy if I had a, $500 or $600 calibration done on that machine and then it got reset back to factory settings. So having the option to do this with a software program, would be very beneficial for me because if I had to redo it, I don't want to have to keep having somebody come out every time this thing, resets. So, but I mean, I don't have any practical experience with it, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the advantage of the Chroma Pure is it will, if you have a Lumagen, it'll do everything for you. It's literally set it and forget it, right? Because it actually communicates with the Lumagen and actually calibrates your display, regardless of a projector or whatever, through the Lumagen, because it can adjust the colors and everything. And where you're running everything through that anyways, it's kind of the same thing. This will also work if it's not as simple if you don't have a Lumagen, but the system that I'm looking at, it's $800, but I'd be buying it without a Lumagen. But basically, and you also get the camera or whatever. I can't remember what they call it.
Yeah, I don't remember either, but it's basically whatever their calibration
it's the camera,
tool is.
The calibration tool that looks at your display. And so I also talked to Nelson, one of our listeners, that he's very familiar with a lot of this stuff. He actually has a CalMan system. He has the proper cameras and stuff to connect. He has actually the next set up above that. He's like, that's the one you'd want to get and calibrate this. And he got a little bit more in depth, but he even said, he's like, I wouldn't use it for him and I. If you've already had your display calibrated for color, leave that. But then he was like, maybe he goes, but we could use it for your black levels and you could use it for your black levels. It's pretty simple to do that. And then once you get those dead on, that's all that really matters. So for somebody even like yourself, you could do that. I talked to the owner of Chroma Pure. I called him up. I went on I can't remember what his name was, but I looked it up. And right when you sent it to me, I thought it looked really interesting. So I'm thinking of getting it, and even just for black levels, and then be like, especially with a bulb, if you're running a bulb system, your bulb's going to dim, and you can adjust. I'd be able to adjust those black levels every month. You just put it in and go boop, boop, boop. And to do black levels probably take like 10 minutes. Just connect it to your Lumagen, and it would adjust your brightnesses and everything, and hit all the points that it needs to hit. So it does, and honestly, and it's like, I know we're here about the experiences. This is kind of fun. I actually kind of like this idea of being able. I would still use Jim, my projector guy, but I also want to get some experience with this, because one of the things that like I get a lot from people is like, where do you find a projector guy? Where do you find a calibrator? And some people don't have it. And if you could buy this system for $500 or $600 and simply be able to, even if you don't have a Lumagen, be able to calibrate your stuff, and once you get familiar, if you're into that type of thing and you want to get into a little of the nitty gritty, this might be something worth it.
Yeah, I'd be buying it without a Lumagen as well, because I won't buy the Lumagen through them.
Right.
Because they only sell brand new full price
high-end
units. And I'm looking for, a secondhand
exactly
unit. So, I'm not going to pay the $6,000 for the Lumagen just so I can save $400 on the software, So
exactly.
I'm looking to get the Lumagen somewhere else, and then I'll pay the $800. Because I'm going to pay a calibrator $500-$600 to come out anyway.
You'd be paying that anyway.
And if I can buy this for $800, even if I only got like 90% of the results that I would get from a calibrator, I probably wouldn't know the difference anyways, because I wouldn't have a comparison of the other 10%. Yeah. And it would still be miles ahead of what I have without the calibration or the Lumigen. So I think it would be, and I'm one of those people that don't have a calibrator.
Right.
I would go and do some research and try to find one local to me, but you don't know what you're getting always when you do that. So I think for me, the software route will be the way to go. Especially with the chances that my projector will, I don't want to have to like record down every single setting in my projector before I do a reset.
Right. Well, the interesting thing about your projector though is, and I thought of this because like when I have mine done, I take pictures of every setting,
every screen,
right? And that's like setting. For every color, every chroma, everything, right? So when you're done, you've got like these 20 pictures I put into a folder, and it's like, okay, these are my settings. But here's the problem that you might run into. They might be adjusting the color levels. They might so you don't know that those are the correct settings.
Right. Like the next update we get is going to be the Dolby Vision update.
Right.
And who knows what kind of settings they may change with that.
Exactly.
So again, having the ability to just rerun this software for whatever the current specs are.
Yeah.
I think for me would be well worth it. So that's what I'm looking to do.
What I think is fun about something like this is one of the reasons and the advantages of having somebody calibrate your screen, your display, is that at the end of it, it could be a 10% improvement, a 50% improvement, it could be a 0.2% of an improvement, right? But the point is, at the end of it, that's correct.
Exactly.
Right? You never have to worry. You're not worried about is that right? Because we all have that in our theaters and we're watching a movie. You're watching a movie and go, that's supposed to look like that? Is everything all right? So with something like this, where you can't get that, you're going to be like, this is what it's supposed to look like. And that's the way it is. And so you could go with that. It's funny. I looked up the gentleman's name. His name was Tom Harrigan.
Right.
And there's two versions. So it's $800 for the calibrated monitor, whatever display thing that you have to read the screen. And he goes, or you can get an uncalibrated one and the package would be $600. And I was like, why? He goes, it gets you like 90% of the way there. What do you need? And I'm like, do you know who you're talking to? Why am I'm paying this to get myself all the way there? Why would I get all the way up to here and be like, screw the last 10%? I'm like, no, he goes, they're all pretty close. And he goes, but this one would be calibrated. And I was like, well, that's the one I want. Why would I buy an uncalibrated calibration tool?
Exactly. To get me 90% of the way there.
I was like,
I guess if you're just really squeezing for that $200, then maybe, but.
Well, then you probably shouldn't be doing this.
Well, yeah, I know.
It's like, it's like.
Buying the Lumigen is the wrong choice if you're squeezing out that last $200.
No, but even the system, like if you're trying to calibrate your system, but you brought an uncalibrated piece of equipment to do it. It
defeats the purpose. Yeah, I think it defeats the purpose.
I'm like, I would think that the only person wanting to buy this is the person that's really trying to pay attention to the details.
Right.
Right. Otherwise, I can get 90% there by eyeballing it.
Right.
I don't need your tool. Your tool.
No.
So that could be a tweak of the week coming soon.
Yeah. Well, I'll be there at some point. It just depends on when I can find the deal on the Lumigen.
Right. Yeah. As I said, I'm working on that.
I know.
I'm trying to find one.
So we'll see whenever it comes through. I'll figure out a way to make it happen. So
yeah. Nope, not that one.
And then spend another $800 on the software.
There you go.
So,
all right. You ready to get to listener experiences?
Yes.
Got a few this week. Got a few here. Let's see. All right. YouTube comment from Greg Bartley. The Kaleidescape Terra experience. So Greg says, I picked up a Strato S, which is a Strato C and a Terra 6 combined about a year ago. Added a Terra 6 recently. Even though they've become more affordable, they are still premium product, and some enthusiasts just can't justify the price. I get that, but nothing else touches it for quality and ease of use. I see you definitely put the bulk of your budget towards the display. I put mine towards the audio side. Either way, it's a great experience. And this, obviously, I did this video back in March, I believe. But maybe I just didn't express how much my sound system I did.
I was gonna say I don't agree that you've put the bulk of your money into the. I mean, the most recent upgrades you've done have mostly been your display, although you just did the,
right.
Marantz update,
Then I just did the Marantz and that, but
I mean, but at that time you had done the Kaleidescape and the Lumagen, and it was all kind of video stuff. But since then you've done more audio stuff.
I thought, but that's what's funny though, and that's why I thought it was a great comment to bring up, because not to mean like I'm trying to brag or something, but what I mean is like, I think a lot of us do that, right? Like you'd be like, all right, I'm satisfied with my video right now, and you're enjoying that, but like you start to think like, what can I do audio? I need to bump that up a little bit more. So you kind of go back and forth. You don't do like, you don't buy subs and a projector at the same time. Or, it's like you kind of lean one way or the other, but it's like I never thought even my Denon receiver and my sound system with the subs and everything was any kind of slouch. I thought, honestly, between that Denon, my speakers, and those SVS subs, the 2000s, I think that's a higher end quality than the Sony projector.
Right.
Right.
It's better audio.
Yeah, because there's better projectors out there. That's kind of on the entry level side of 4K projectors. Granted, yes, I added the Lumagen to it after the fact, but I would say like the Denon, that was a higher end Denon receiver. It was, so I just thought maybe I just didn't talk about it, but I thought it was, we all do that. We go back and forth. Let's see. We got a tweet from Omar. Hey, at Justin at HD Report. Hey, Justin, at Mike Schramm texted me in the morning telling me about this amazing deal. Look, Papa Bright say, look at what you created, HT Family. So Omar tweeted this out, and that's why I wanted to say it. I showed this to my wife, and I literally, I don't know where I was when I saw it, but got a little choked up. HT Family, look at what you've created. It's like all these people are talking on Twitter, and for Omar to reach out, add me into the conversation. And it was like, we're having this conversation because of us, because of this. And I'm like, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Pretty cool.
Yep.
Very humbling. Let's see. Andrea Manoia. Perfect timing. The upload this morning, 6:30 a.m. There's a comment on our show, 223. This is actually from it's a YouTube comment from a green room. Perfect timing. The upload this morning, 6:30 a.m. in Italy, and I'm getting in my car for a 3-hour drive to Florence. I did the same thing John did with the beach scene in House of the Dragon, and got to the same conclusion. Went on Google and looked for a Lumagen. I even tried with my living room OLED, and it went on some kind of safe mode, turning off the brightness. Right. P.S. I'm sorry for your loss, DJ. But yes, that turning off the brightness thing is one of the things we referred to last week, I believe, with what's his name, did the whole video. It was in the video, and there's some settings. OLEDs would do it. It's not really a safe mode. It's just that's what they think they're supposed to be doing. They're making the scene darker.
Right.
But yeah, and it's funny. That's why, Lumagen's at the front of everybody's mind. Mad VR just come off of, Cedia. And then we get these, House of the Dragon scenes. We got actually the one I'm going to talk about this week in Andor. There's all these dark scenes start to pop out at you now, and there's ways of
Well, even this week's House of the Dragon was very dark. Very dark.
Yeah,
It wasn't quite the beach scene dark, but it was pretty dark through most of the
a lot of
episode,
smoke.
So
They're doing a lot of the smoky, gross, like, I think they're trying that atmospheric stuff, like stuff in the foreground, you get the nice deep blacks, but the further away it gets grayer and grayer. And when that stuff starts to blend together, that makes everything, blend together. So,
right.
let's see. Johnny Speakers, he's like, just finished the podcast with Carl. The most exciting thing in it for me was your history of Toyotas. Last week I bought a Tacoma, bright side. I love it. Dark side.
Nice.
HT budget took a big hit. And the white van is no more. So Johnny Speakers doesn't have a white van anymore.
Yeah.
But he's got a beautiful gray Tacoma.
Yeah. That's the problem when you like more than one thing. You know, like I said, I haven't
know.
bought a new Star Wars piece for this room in over a year because I am pouring all my money into theater stuff. But when I was buying all of these collectibles, I wasn't doing anything to my theater because like, my pockets aren't that deep. So I can only do one thing at a time.
Well, that's what I said last week. I used to go between my car, my theater, and different things. And there was a time when I spent money on hockey stuff. Like, I need more hockey gear. I need the newest. Right. I mean, skates now. I'm glad I have a pair of skates, a decent pair, I should say. First off, if anybody out there that plays hockey, nobody likes buying skates. The last thing you want to do, because it just hurts. They just hurt for like a month. New skates now are like $1,000.
Oh, geez.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's going up, but that's...
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they were before, but that's pretty high
the
for
skates
a pair of
I have, I bought probably 5 years ago. I needed a pair, and that was the last. And the one I bought before that was probably 15 years. And so the model I have right now, brand new, would be like $1,200. Wow. What are you, nuts? Insane. Jonathan, hey, last night I watched Iron Man on Disney Plus. Maybe the first time I have watched the complete movie since it was in theaters. I'm not a huge Marvel fan. Maybe I have seen half the movies. I like them, but I don't think they're the be-all, end-all. I really enjoyed Iron Man. I like that it wasn't 2.5, 3 hours like too many other movies. The story was good. I thought it looked great on the stream. Unfortunately, I watched it late at night, so I really couldn't crank up the sound too much, so I won't comment on the sound. I think it's better than more recent Marvel films, which rely way too heavily on CGI. Something like Captain Marvel to me was a waste of a movie. Boring lead character. I do like Infinity War and Endgame a lot, even though I haven't seen all the previous movies, so don't have all the backstory. Anyway, an enjoyable watch. I rent 4K discs from store3dblu-ray-rental.com. On deck for this weekend are Poltergeist, probably one of 3 or 4 horror movies I have seen in my life. I hate horror. Woohoo! There's more than just one. No. And Do the Right Thing. I also have Sudden Death, Van Damme on the way. My son has been wanting to watch. Trying to watch some stuff we can talk about on the podcast on 10/22, but tough with NFL, NHL starting, and baseball playoffs. Hard to find time to watch a lot right now.
Well, it's tough because, like I said, for me, it's football, it's soccer.
I know.
And too many network shows. Like we went through last week, my wife and I, and we knocked off at least 3 shows.
Yeah.
We're like, all right, do you really like this show? I don't either. Let's stop watching that one.
Yeah.
So we just cut off like a couple of them, and might go through this week and cut off a couple more because it's just too much stuff to watch. And I want to watch more HT stuff, but I'm bogged down with stupid things like The Resident and
but if you're
like
enjoying it, it's not.
I mean,
stupid.
I like the shows.
Yeah,
they're not horrible, but
yeah,
it's just I don't know. I'm getting so much less interested in network programming.
Network's taking a hit. Yes, absolutely.
I really just want the streaming production quality stuff. So
right. That's the thing is we've become so spoiled and there is so much great content. Yeah. We really don't have time for, I don't know if the Arrowverse could start up right now, for
probably
instance.
Not.
Right?
Yeah,
because you'd be like, well, one, we've already had it, so maybe it could. If we'd never had it before, we'd be excited to get something like that. Like, they're gonna do what?
Right.
But if you have if you're just not grabbed, it's just not enough time in the day, and that's tough. It's tough for them. It's great for us, you know. I agree. I loved Iron Man. Obviously, it's the first Marvel movie to be done by Marvel Studios, and I thought it's one of my favorites. If not, it's up in the top 3 or 4, just because it was the one that started it. It is nice that it's not 2.5, 3 hours long. But I'll talk to John. John's the guest next Tuesday's Takeover Tuesday. But I'll talk to him about the sound there, because it has a really good soundtrack. The DTS on the Blu-ray is really good. The Atmos I liked is really good. It's good track. Good track.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I haven't seen that one in a while either, but
Iron Man? Oh,
yeah, I haven't seen it in
so good.
quite a while. Yeah. But
all right. Let's see. We got YouTube comments. Blah, 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 the King. John, I had the decision to make between the Lumigen and the Kaleidescape too. I went with the Kaleidescape, and I do not regret it one bit. Don't underestimate the convenience factor of having almost every movie available for you to purchase from your couch or phone. I know you had John at hello.
I don't think I would regret if I went either way, and it's not for me at this point, it's not a one or the other. It's one for I'm not necessarily putting the Kaleidescape away forever, but I also, again, I don't watch movies quite the same way that you do. Like, I don't know that I would sit there and jump from scene to scene to scene in 5 different movies. Like, I kind of, I put, and again, maybe this is because I have to put in a disc, but I put in a disc because I've decided to watch this movie.
Right.
And I watch it all the way through and I go to the next one. There might be times where I'd want to, show off my system a little bit, that would be helpful. But I don't know how many times I would do that. But yeah, it's not a one in place of the other kind of thing.
Right.
I just feel like at this point in time, I would get way more use out of the Lumigen than I would out of the Kaleidescape.
Let me, I'll finish this, and then, because I have the comments on that too, but, watch from your couch, purchase from your couch or phone, delivered in a very short amount of time. Also, being able to own the new releases much earlier than disc. Sure, the processors are fantastic, and one day I'll probably own one as well, but if you already have a great image and are happy with what you see, I would recommend the Kaleidescape. You will not be disappointed, and I think you will appreciate it more. Just my 2 cents. Great show, guys. Thanks for all you do.
I didn't mean to jump. I thought that was the end of the comment.
No,
I would have waited, but
no, that's fine. Because what's funny is he's right. He's like, if you're and this is what I really liked about his comment here. What kind of jumped out at me is he said, if you're happy, if you already have a great image and are happy with what you see, I would recommend the Kaleidescape. But that's where the difference comes, and it's like, so his comment is he's happy with his image. I would say, go with that. Go with the Kaleidescape. But I bought my Lumigen because I wasn't happy with a portion of what I was seeing, and mainly with streaming and stuff. And that's what it drove me to the Lumigen. And it was like, and then of course talking to Jim, and he's like, you should get the Lumigen before you get a Kaleidescape, because this is going to do this for your entire system. Okay. Right. And that's a lot of how you're feeling right now. You're like, look, what this has done. And then if I had to read every comment that I get from Carl, who's had his Mad VR for all of 10 days, I get a comment every day. This is amazing what it's doing. It's amazing what it does for streaming. It's amazing what it does for HBO Max. And because what it does is what these processors are doing is it takes all of your content and raises it to the level that you get with your disc in your Panasonic 820 or whatever, right? And when I'm saying that's the difference. But if you have a great image and you're happy with it and you're looking to buy one of these things, then yeah, if you have no qualms with what you're doing, maybe you don't stream a lot, maybe you don't do this, whatever. It's like you can't go wrong either way. He's right.
Yeah.
And I get that. I don't think that if say I hadn't talked to Jim and somebody came up to me and went, "Hey, you want to buy a Kaleidescape, blah, blah, blah," and I didn't have a Lumagen, I'd still be just as excited.
Oh, sure.
Because you don't know what you don't know, right?
Right.
But once you get the video processor, you're like, how the heck would you not? How did I live without you, buddy? I love you.
Right.
I can't take
And
you to
I'm
bed with me,
generally happy with the image I get.
Yeah.
I've said it before, but there are limitations, and some of these things, like House of the Dragon, kind of exposed a bunch of them for me to the point where I feel like I'm missing out. And, not every show is House of the Dragon, but
right.
But but there's a lot of dark, there's a lot of shows that you watch nowadays, especially fantasy shows, where everything happens at night. Everything happens in the dark. Everything is dark. So I feel like I want that image to be, again, be all it can be,
Right.
Join the army. And, getting the Dolby Vision update at some point will help that projector.
Yeah, with Dolby Vision content.
But not everything, right. But not everything is in Dolby Vision.
Right.
House of the Dragon is, but not everything is. And, it won't really help with anything network or anything
Right.
like
non-Dolby
that.
Vision.
So, basically, non-Dolby Vision, which is, again, we watch a lot of stuff that is Dolby Vision, but it's probably only 25% or 30% of the stuff you're watching. So, we'll see.
Well, again, you can't go wrong either. I mean,
again, if the deal on the Lumagen doesn't appear and a deal on a Kaleidescape does, well, then that'll be what I get, right? I'd be happy either way.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I won't be happy. I haven't unwrapped all these discs yet, just in case I need to send some of them back. But
it's slowly unwrapping. Oh,
I'm not going to unwrap it until I watch it, because I have till January 31st to send them back.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. But let's see. We got a comment from Carl. Speaking of Carl, talking about Werewolf by Night from last week's podcast. He said, interesting info on Runco versus JVC, as Runco actually went out of business back in 2016. But they made kick-ass projectors. Yeah. A projector from 2016 might actually be better than anything put out today. They had some amazing projectors.
Especially with a Mad VR or a
Lumagen
right?
in line. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're amazing projectors. I'm trying to think, my projector, I think, is from 2016 for all intents and purposes, right? Something like that might be, or just the generation before it. That's
right.
Yeah. So pretty funny. We've got some giveaways. We've got some digital codes from Nelson. So
awesome.
I am going to, whoever would like, I'm going to save that one. Let me see. We're going to do, let me see. Now I have to look and see which ones he has here, because he has the set. He gave me a bunch, but I'm going to give a few. I'm going to give one. I have a few to give away this week from different people.
Okay.
So people are stepping up big time here. So, all right, we're going to go backwards, and I have to give codes because I want people to, all right. What's this one? Star Trek, The Undiscovered Country. So first person to DM me or email me, I would like, what is that, 4? Star Trek 4? VI? Is that 4? That's
VI
6.
is 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first person to DM or email me the Roman numeral for 6, VI, Star Trek, VI. That's all you got to do. You will get the Star Trek digital code from Nelson. I will send you the digital code for Star Trek Undiscovered Country. And I also have other ones that will go out other weeks with different codes, because I don't want people to not listen next week and then just be like, well, I want this one, because I think eventually, does he give me? Let me see. And these are the 4K, the new 4K releases. I also have Wrath of Khan he gave. That'll be going out at some point. And I have the director's edition of Star Trek, the motion picture. But that one, it's going to be a surprise, and there'll be a special code for that. So we're going to start with 4, and then we'll work our way back. So stay tuned week after week for all of that fun stuff. But thank you, Nelson. Really appreciate that. So this week, not 4, sorry, 6.
6.
Star Trek 6. So the Roman numeral 6, you get that digital code. And all right, next we have here we go. Reference level has meaning. So Tom Harrigan, we were talking about this. It spilled over into tweets. Or people were talking about it in tweets, but we were talking about it in the green room. But talking about reference level, and Tom was talking about how he was watching Top Gun at -27 and his room was shaking. Right. And then we had a conversation about it. And like I said, VJ, I think it ended up over on Twitter as well. And it's like, that's what one of the things to me, and why like VJ and I think we're like, wow, that's like really low. What's going on there? And not trying to accuse Tom of anything, or, like, hey, not like ours is better or anything. But what it is like what I really like about home theater having that reference level. And we got into a discussion about this where I can't wait to hear if Tom comes back. I don't think he has, but he's going to put a SPL meter on it. And that got me to messing around with just a digital one and watching in my room what it looks like when I run at reference level. And I might make a video on it, or I want to make a video on it where you could see my SPL meter, see my screen, watch a scene, and then you'll be able to see, like, this is what it is in my room. Not saying mine's right, but this is the experience that I'm getting. But that's what, like, that reference level means something. So there's a lot of people out there that they'll run their subs wicked hot, or they'll run their overheads and they'll mess up everything. But if you don't set your room, calibrate your room to reference level, and then tweak from there, you're not really sure what you're getting. Right. And it's hard to, like, oh, my dialogue isn't very good, or this isn't very good. It's like, well, what are you running at? And to me, -27 sounds really low. But then Tom had a good point. He's like, what if my ears are just more sensitive and that sounds really good to him? And like me at reference level, what if my ears are shot? And that's what it takes. We might literally be hearing the same exact thing.
Could be.
So I don't know. It's like, he went over like his sub settings and everything, and they're a little bit higher, but he has 4 subs in his room, and they're all at like 2. Because he's overpowered in his room with his subs, as I am too. But there's so many variables, but having reference level kind of evens all that out. And if you calibrate your room with like a, Odyssey or a Dirac, and you calibrate it to reference level, that should be the same. It should be minus, 85 dB should be the average of what you're getting in your room. Peaks are going until like 105 or something like that. But if you have, and somebody else wrote me this too, they didn't know what reference level was. And that was interesting. So we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. So it's my THX, I believe, is what we pretty much, it's like -85. Some people tell you -75 dB. So if you have your receiver set to like just 0 to 100, then -85 would be what reference level is based off of there. That's -85 dB. If you have it set to like, what is it? I forget the low number. It's like -41 or something, all the way to 0. 0 would be reference level.
Right. So, I think it goes lower than that. I've had mine at like -50. So
that's what I mean. Like -40. Yeah. Oh yeah. -50, whatever. I know what you're saying. Yeah. But 0. So like that way, like if I turn mine to -5, I know I'm 5 dB below reference level.
Reference.
Right. And then if I go over it, I'll be like, it'll say +10 over reference level. And that's a setting within your receiver. They all do it. All the ones, home theater ones do it. So, but that's what it should be. And all your ability to get there is going to depend on mostly on room treatments, which would include big time sound absorption of bass, bass traps and stuff. Because if you're trying to run at reference level in a marble room, you're going to be hurting.
Right.
So, but yeah. So yeah, that very interesting stuff and slight little taste of what goes on in the green room, but it did leak out and it's something worth talking about too. So, let's see. Oh, G. Cornell, have you seen it to comment on the Atmos versus non-Atmos release of this title, talking about Star Trek, the motion picture, the director's edition? I have not. It's not available on Kaleidescape, and I tried to buy it, and Amazon canceled my order on me. I was all excited to have that. It was actually a rainy day, the day it dropped. It was supposed to be at my house, and then you start getting that message on that day, and you're like, oh, it's delayed. Oh, it's running late. Oh, it's this. And then it's like, if you don't see this, you can cancel your order or blah, blah. And it was like, so basically what ended up happening, it was like, here, buy this one. And it was the box set above. I'm like, I don't need the whole box set of it.
I don't want all of that.
Yeah. And I'm expecting that it's going to drop eventually. And when it drops, it's usually right after I buy it.
Right.
But to have it on day and date, I bought it. And then it just failed to show up. So now I'm like, well, I might as well just wait. But I would like to find out. Another YouTube comment. Our man, Mike Love and Thunder, he opened a second account on YouTube called Love and Thunder. And he goes, second account, algorithm.
Nice.
So I thought that was great. That's so funny. I'm like, all right, cool. He's listening, taking our advice, helping the podcast grow. Really appreciate it. Another listener, Mike Schramm, commented, another great show. Thank God I spent 6 hours in the car yesterday. I was able to catch up on all the content.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah.
So thank you, Mike and Love and Thunder.
Yeah, both of you.
Say that.
The both of you.
All right, big one. We have Dan Carpenter, big giveaway. I have the 4K code for Poltergeist that we are giving away as well. So the first person to, what should they do? You come up with it. What can they email or DM me to win Poltergeist in 4K digital code? That from Dan, our man.
Go into the light.
There you go. DM, I want to go into the light. DM, I want to go into the light. There you go. Nice job, John.
Or you didn't move the bodies.
Oh, I like
go into the light.
Go into the light. You didn't move the body. We can't have that going out on the Ethernet.
Why not?
Jesus.
True, that's true. The FBI might come knocking on your door.
Yeah, we got to keep an eye on this podcast. They're moving bodies. You didn't move the bodies. It's like, oh, yeah. DM or email me. I want to go into the light, and you'll get the 4K code for Poltergeist, the new 4K release. All right, last comment. Mark, hi DJ. I listened to this week's Takeover Tuesday with John Brock, and your talk about Predestination was awesome. That movie is a real mind bender. Kidding. Wanted to let you know I found it on YouTube for free. I'm still on my soundbar, so I can't comment on the sounds. Today is moving day into my new house, so hopefully I have home theater updates for you soon. Cheers, Mark. Yes, that love that information. Glad we got that in just in time for this show. That you can go, I guess, on YouTube and find Predestination for free because, as I said, talking with John, it is a good home theater experience, and if you can get it, get it. But if you just want to take in this movie for what it is, and it's that conversation piece that you're going to go, you want a movie that's going to screw with you? Watch this. And it does. And I highly recommend that you just put it in your theater and upmix it or whatever from YouTube. Yeah. There's, like I said, there's some nice gunshots, but that's not what this movie's about. And
Apple TV's got it for $3.99. That's right.
There you go.
I think Vudu has it for $2.99 for the standard
Okay.
definition version. So yeah, I was gonna just rent it for $4, but I just haven't had time to watch it yet.
It's crazy. I'm telling you, John, when you see it, you're gonna be like, all right, your text will be call me. Because you can't text about it. You really can't.
Right.
You'd be like, it's insane. And then you'll get to go back and hear back all the spoiler talk that we have.
Yeah, I can listen to the spoiler stuff.
The spoiler talk. You don't have to listen to Future DJ. So, all right.
Which is now past DJ.
Because
that came out 3 days ago.
Correct. See how that works? Future DJ is not Future DJ no more, but there's Future DJ is still out there.
He is.
Hopefully.
Yeah. He's on the lam.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, if he's not out there, I don't want to go to sleep.
That's true.
Something happened to him.
He better still be out there.
Right. Because if he's not out there, this is never seeing the light of day.
Right.
All right. All right. That's it for that. So we get to the part of the show where we go across the pond. You ready for that?
I am.
All right. Hey, Steve. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay, DJ. Very glad to be here again. And after the day I've had, it's very nice to be here chatting home cinema.
Same here.
I was dealing with a murder case this morning.
Oh, nice.
I was dealing with a client this afternoon who beat up a female police officer. So it's been a very, very, very long day. So it's nice to be here, having had a couple of hours to decompress and now talking about really fun stuff. So it's good to be here.
I need to talk to you sometime off air, maybe green room, doesn't have to be.
Brightside Law.
Yeah, really. I get all the time people talking like, how do you defend a murderer? How can you do this if you know they did it? How do you do this? And I defend it. I can brightside the bejesus out of that because you have your law system. We have our law systems, and short version is now. Don't get me wrong. Just like we have skeevy police officers, we have skeevy lawyers. We have great. I believe 95%.
There's a new phrase. Skeevy.
Yeah.
What does that
skeevy,
mean?
Just snivelly,
dodgy.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, but I believe 95% of the people in all walks of life are good people, right? 5% crap.
Okay.
There's nothing you can do about it. It's human nature. It's what happens. But so my long, very, very short version. I'd love to have the discussion, but short version. If you're not doing your job, we don't know if the system. That's how you test the system, and you make sure that it's not broke. And it's like you might not want to defend the guy, but you know what? It's like, I've got to make sure that, because what if I get a guy that is innocent? I've got to make sure that the government or whoever's pressing these charges is doing their due diligence correctly. And to keep the system honest, we need people like you.
The role is simply this. We are there to protect and advance their legal rights. That's it. That's the role. That's all we do. Yep. We're not there to get them off. We're not there to lie on their behalf, cheat, or anything like that.
Nope.
We just don't do it, because to do that would be a criminal offense, and that's not what we do. So we're simply there to make sure that someone has their rights protected, their defense, if there is one, properly advanced and explored. But it's no more to it than that. And you say, when people say, and that's a question I get all the time. So, and when you get that question, the reality is, at the end of the day, it's not for me to decide whether someone's done it or not. It's for a jury, or over here also a set of magistrates, to decide that in a trial. Now, if someone says to me, I've committed that offense, then I'm entitled to explore that. Is there enough evidence to if someone says I've done it, is there enough evidence for them to prove that they've done it or not? And then they're entitled, then I would advise someone, if there's evidence to do it, you should plead guilty. And then they're entitled to what's called a plea in mitigation over here, which is an explanation as to why it happened, to assist the court with determining the appropriate punishment. And that's it. That is my role. That's what I do. And I try to never take it any more personally or particularly than that.
Yeah.
Now, that does not mean that it's easy.
No.
There are cases that are very difficult, and I've represented some clients who are alleged to have done some very, 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 very difficult things, and had to rationalize that in terms of learning about it, because some of the stuff is very, very difficult indeed. But fortunately, they are rare. And in fact, in 23 years of doing this job, I can count probably three occasions when I've genuinely struggled with the facts of a particular case. And I've dealt with multiple murder cases. I've dealt with multiple sexual offences and the full gamut of offences. But so yeah, probably 2 or 3 where you go home and you're thinking about it afterwards. But luckily they're rare.
Yeah.
But that's the nature of the job. But yeah, so to your point, protect and advance their legal rights, and it's nothing more to it than that. But it can make it. And what I always say is that this particular job, we do long hours. It's tiring. It's stressful. It's unpredictable, but it's never ever boring. And that's what I like about it. It's just every case is different. Even when you deal with the same person over and over again, and very often I do, then there's always some new wrinkle. There's always something different about it, and that's what
What'd
keeps
you do
it so
this
much
time?
Fun. Quite literally. Well, I've got a client. Well, in fact, I've got a number of clients, but one in particular who's got over 250 convictions for shop theft. So she's not very good at it. You'd think after 250 you'd be getting good, wouldn't you? But yeah, so she and again, literally, not only do I know her as very well, having been representing her for 20 odd years, and various members of her family, the shops do, but also the magistrates do, and the courts do. So when she comes before them, before she's even given her name, they're like, "Oh, hello, how you doing? You okay?" And they know her as well as I do because of how often she comes before them. So it's but those people are easy to deal with, and they're actually they're quite fun because they're sort of lovable rogues, which is a different thing to your sort of you're serious and very unpleasant stuff. Hence what I was doing earlier today. But even then, if without giving specifics because of confidentiality, but if I give you an idea, the case today, the murder case, was an absolute tragic case for all concerned. And this is, and again, I can't give specifics, but suffice it to say, there are the deceased may not be a victim, and in fact, my client may not have actually had anything to do whatsoever with the death, and yet my client has lost a family member as a result of it.
Right.
It's tragic for all concerned. It's just, but so it's just one of those things. So long day, and this is what's so cool about being able to get back, a couple of hours to decompress, and then just to talk pseudo nonsense with you from my end, not yours.
Yeah, exactly. This is serious stuff for me, Steve.
Hey, exactly. Yeah, there you go.
I'm trying to portray myself as an important person here, and you're killing me here.
I put it in writing tonight. I put it. Yeah. Well, quite. Yes. Yeah. Allegedly. Yeah. I put it in writing tonight. The man, the myth, the legend.
There you go.
So I think you're already there, mate. You're there.
All right. Let's get to some home theater talk to get you some much alleviation. I don't know if that's the term, but okay, let's do it. What do you got this week, buddy?
Okay. Well, there's one we forgot last week.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I can't believe we forgot to talk about Werewolf by Night. I am just, when you texted me afterwards and said, you know what, we forgot.
It's not like we stopped talking.
No, well, quite. I didn't realize that was your featured
We
film
didn't
was that
either,
week.
but it just worked out with John and I. But yes, I should have mentioned it to you when we got on. And said, "Hey, it's because I already knew it was the title." And I think again, I pulled the stupid DJ, and I mentioned, "Oh, I'm going to talk about this with Steve because you had a different opinion." And I'm like, "Of course we don't do it." But look, you know what? That's the beauty. It's always next week. Here we go.
That's it. So the Beauty and the Werewolf, not Beauty and the Beast.
So what did you think? You didn't like it as much as I did.
Okay. So in terms of the home theater side of it, that we can agree on. It looked good. It looked okay. I didn't have it looked as how I wanted it to look. I had no problem with that. And same with the sound. It was fine. I liked the little cigarette burns up in the corner. I thought that was a nice touch. Of course, you realize what that comes from. That comes from when the projectionists used to swap projectors. When you got to the end of the first reel, they'd have, what they used to do is have 2 projectors running side by side.
Right.
And so you'd have one reel on one, and then the cigarette burn flashes up, which tells the projector you've got 8 seconds to then flick the other one over, the projectionist, and they would bring the other reel on. So it's quite a fun little, old school thing. I like that.
Okay.
So home theater wise, it was fine, and I thought it was good. It was okay. No problems with that. My problem was with the story. All right, and a massive opportunity missed. I thought Now, let me see if you agree.
Okay. Okay.
Let me develop my argument, Your Honor.
All right.
So
I'll allow
Judge DJ in the house. Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's it. So you'll have to get that curtain behind you and wrap it around your arm, like over your top.
I was just thinking, like,
Judge DJ. Yeah.
exactly. I like
So,
this.
okay. So, firstly, now I'm a massive werewolf fan. Okay, and you know I'm a horror fan. Yeah. So anything that's got a werewolf in it is immediately in my zone. That's what I'm immediately interested in. From American Werewolf in London, which is my favorite one. The Howling's really good as well, and obviously Dog Soldiers, which I maintains a classic. Although I appreciate that. You might not. Okay.
Right.
So anything with a werewolf in has got me interested. And as soon as I saw the trailer to it, I thought, oh, this has been made for me. And so I was really looking forward to it. So it's a 54-minute film with credits, as you guys said last week, which means what? 48 minutes maybe of actual movie. Okay. We get to 37 minutes in and we don't see a werewolf. 37 minutes before the werewolf arrives of a 48-minute film. That was a problem for me, one. Not the massive problem, but it was a problem because it's a werewolf film. Where's the bloody werewolf? And it's not like Jaws or Alien or any one of a number of movies, creature features where there are attacks but you don't see the creature. This thing sort of comes out of nowhere at 37 minutes or thereabouts. So we haven't seen it before. So I'm like, is there going to Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park? Are there going to be dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour? So I was thinking, are there going to be werewolves on your werewolf movie? So that was a problem for me. It was annoying me. All right. So that was one. But more than that, I think it was a missed opportunity. All right. Now let's see if we can agree on this. See if you'll go with me on this. Okay. Because you're a comics guy as well. So happy days. All right. So someone, when they were writing this, says, I've got a great idea. We're going to do a werewolf movie. It's going to be a Marvel special. It'll be great. And we're going to assemble a team of monster hunters, and including vampires, because we see a bat, a sort of vampire bat, and someone mentions vampires. One of these monster hunters is going to be African American. It's going to be great. All right. Now, can we think of, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, of a vampire hunter who's African American, who we're about to launch a big film of it next year? Do we know anyone in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that might have sort of given birth to all this stuff in 1998 or thereabouts, and who should have been in this and wasn't? Any idea?
I know what you're talking about, but all right.
Where the hell was Blade? Where the hell was Blade? This was a perfect opportunity to introduce him into the MCU.
Well,
he's been cast.
How about this? Isn't it a perfect opportunity to expand the African-American vampire hunter universe? There's more than just Blade. There's somebody else out there as well. Like it just don't have to have one African-American vampire hunter. That's a lot to say, an African-American vampire hunter.
Yeah, it's not easy.
But you know what I mean?
But
like, I didn't even think of that. Didn't even think. I mean, would I like to have seen Blade, or would I have I just thought it was. I just looked at it as another character and went, okay. I think it, and from what I do understand, this is supposed to play fairly well into the MCU. Like, this is going to play. So these characters may actually be more important. Maybe that's a Blade sidekick. Maybe that's, or maybe I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I liked it for what it was. Yeah. I see what you're saying, but
as soon as I saw it, and I saw the vampire bat head on the wall, and as soon as then I saw him, I thought, oh, it's Blade, it's Blade, it's going to be Blade, it might be a young Blade, it might be a kind of a rude Blade, and then of course it's not, and I'm thinking, why? You had the perfect opportunity. I miss Blade. I love Blade 1 and 2. Some of my favorite films. I absolutely love the third one. The third one's awful.
I love Ryan Reynolds. I love Ryan. It's hysterical.
Yeah. There's some good language in it. I must admit.
Outtakes from that, the outtakes that he did in that are hysterical. But yeah, it is. But the first two are the better movies, but
classic movies. And in fact, Blade 2 is the only film I've ever watched. I literally bought 2 tickets for consecutive shows. I watched it once, came out, and went straight into the next screen and saw it again. And I've never done that before or since. And I loved it. So those films are some of my favorite films. I love those two movies. Rightly or wrongly, I love them. And roll on a 4K disc of Blade 2, by the way, because that in DTSX would be absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I just thought, we've missed Blade. We haven't seen him since Blade Trinity. They've cast him, 2 years ago? Maybe longer?
And it just got delayed yet again.
It did. So now you've got your perfect opportunity for you to see Blade. Here he is. You don't even have to do anything. All he's got to do is walk on and go, I'm Blade. That'll do. That'll be fine. I'll be happy with that. And yet...
It's all about you, Steve.
It's all about me.
It's so funny. So you're like... So in summarization, they missed a perfect opportunity to please you.
100%.
So
Absolutely.
Okay, I can't argue with that. I completely agree with you, Steve.
So that was why. So I was annoyed by not using Blade. I was very annoyed by the lack of a werewolf until 11 minutes before the end.
And I could see that building in you, like as the show, the movie, whatever, a short story keps going, and you're like, still not. You can't even enjoy what you were watching because
I didn't hate it.
I know, but it's gonna be hard to enjoy it when you're sitting there going, still no werewolf. Still no werewolf.
I kid you not.
No werewolf.
I saw it in the cinema room. I had my phone. I kept tapping the screen. Oh yeah, okay, right. I see it because of course it comes up on the phone how much far through it is because of course it's on the same Apple TV, isn't it? So you just tap on it. Oh, all right, okay, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. All right, 14 minutes, 11 minutes. Oh, there's a werewolf.
They're not going to make it. They're not going to make it.
Man.
It's like when we were kids. Oh, this isn't going to make it. There's going to be continued next week. Going to have to wait.
Yeah, exactly. Man. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not, I don't hate it. I don't think I'll watch it again, which is weird for someone like me that, would normally do it. I don't think I'd see it again. But I like the notion of a 54-minute lean and mean, presentation movie, whatever you want to do.
Right.
That's a great idea. And it's good to see Marvel doing that. It's just that for me, and I can only talk about me, I can't talk about anybody else. For me, it just seemed like there were things that could have been done differently. And I think it could have been even better. And I get the Lon Chaney, references. I get that, I'm one of the people that likes The Wolfman, the Joe Johnston movie from 2010, because that was shot just up the road here with Benicio del Toro as the thing, and Anthony Hopkins. I happen to like that film more than the filmmakers do, because and that's done with a Lon Chaney Jr. sort of Wolfman, and he looks amazing. It's really good makeup. It's Rick Baker makeup effect, and it looks incredible. And so I'm a sucker for this kind of thing. And so if I don't engage with it, then that's unusual. So yeah, but it is, but home cinema, fine. Just story could have been better, I think. But it's me. It's me. What I'm going to say. So yeah, it's
all
me.
of you.
Now let's talk about something that I think we can agree on. She-Hulk, the finale. Was it as good as I said it would be?
Yes, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. I still think what I said last week to you about it, in that it's a long way to go to get to that last episode. There was a lot of that show that's like, I liked how they wrapped it up. I loved that, like everything you talked about. I'll go spoiler free here as well, but but yeah, they
can you see why I was grinning like a loon when you were talking about it's Kevin Feige,
God.
Kevin, and I'm like,
I
very
trust
funny.
Kevin Feige, it was fantastic, and I love how
notice it has a cap. It actually has a cap. Do you see? It's got a hat, which of course he's famous for wearing. Which I thought was a nice little touch.
Yep.
I mean, I just think that episode was pitch perfect.
But
Whatever
they leaned into everything you and I talked about, right? So, which was great about our conversation, because you knew what had happened. I hadn't seen it yet, but yet that is like, I was taking the role of the public, and that's how we feel. And I was defending it, of course, but that's what's going on out there. But I love that they're just, is that really, are they leaning into it and acknowledging us, or are they really just like turning the screws on people that are that negative? Because you're like, we're listening to it. We hear you. You're just stupid. you're just,
it's a bit of that, isn't it?
You know what I mean?
Like,
we know what you're doing, but we hear you. Yeah, we hear you. or we're just not listening to you. We hear it, and it's like, but you don't know the whole story. But that's the point.
Yeah. And I mean, and the X-Men, the little X-Men line was just it was absolutely the little tongue out sort of look at the camera was just you know exactly what we're doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The whole thing. It was great. It was great. Yeah. And they had some budget lines in there. She's like, what was it?
Can you change off camera because
we don't have the budget?
And the effects team have moved on to another show.
Yeah. Right. It's like, okay, and they come back. She's changed.
I mean, some might say that's in poor taste because, of course, they've had some serious criticism recently about how they pay their effects teams and the constraints they put on them. I'm a little bit surprised they didn't cut that. As funny as it was,
maybe that's why they put it in.
Yeah, but they've had some union issues and some actual proper criticism recently about how much they pay them and how they constantly change their minds with their things. So but it was funny. And when they're like, right, can you just change now? Wait, camera's going off you. Wait, now. And that just was so good. It's fun.
I've seen some of that stuff as an artist myself. I don't want to piss off any of the artists, but that's the thing. When I was growing up, it was work for Disney, but it wasn't graphics. It was draw, right? Work for Disney.
Android,
but you were nobody. But that's how you got in, right? But you were a dime a dozen. I can get anybody to color inside the lines, and that's what they would do. And I got to imagine they probably work them like dogs, and they probably, they push them, they change things, and it's like you work hard there, you do your thing, and it's like, I'm working for Disney. But the problem is, and this is just my interpretation on the outside looking in, there's somebody behind you that wants your job too, right? Yeah. So people coming out of college, people want that job, and they'd be like, but I need more money. We're like, I can pay this guy here. And they literally just shuffle them through. And then that person goes on to be at some place, some firm or something, doing some graphics or something else. It's all about, what can I get
market
done?
Forces.
Market, right? Yeah, it's the kid behind you will do your job for cheaper. It's not them. It's that.
Well, quite. I mean, we don't want to get into employment dynamics and international forces and all that stuff.
Week?
Yeah, well, quite. We are getting. Yeah, it must be a heavy day. We're getting into heavy stuff, but it's a fun episode, and it really does poke fun at Marvel. They also did you see the clip that they put up online? It was like a teaser. And even their teasers are misdirecting you, because in this teaser there is an arm that showed of the final fight. Again, spoiler free, final fight. And in that teaser there is a big, huge arm that creeps into the corner of the frame of this what people were speculating was a famous character in the MCU. Again, we won't spoil it.
Yeah.
Who of course is nowhere to be seen. And so I wonder if even that was dropped in to just misdirect the fans and have a bit of fun with fans.
Oh, they love doing that. They love doing that with their teasers, their trailers. They'll give you one thing in a trailer and you don't get it in the movie, and then they love doing that.
I've heard in one of these, Patrick Stewart turns up. Shh! Don't tell anyone.
No. Oh no! More Twitter problems.
Yeah, I could hear the Twitter police coming down the road. Yeah, I can hear
exactly.
So I loved it. I thought it was great. Actually, you know what? I haven't seen Andor. Oh no, that's out tomorrow, isn't it? Andor, the new Andor's out tomorrow.
No, I saw today's. I saw it today.
Is it today's? Is it Wednesday? Oh, I'm getting confused. Oh right, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh,
any good? Without spoiler free? Any good?
John and I talked about it yesterday before we saw it, and pretty much nailed it. It's a slight letdown over last week's, which was a culmination of the, it's the sixth, halfway through.
It's your 3 to 3 to 3, isn't it? Your group of 3, yeah.
Yeah. More talk. Okay.
Right.
But I liked it, but I have a feling people will be like, here we go again, more build up. And, but I like it. I'm still liking it. So.
Yeah, and I need to watch it. I'll hopefully get a chance tomorrow. I wouldn't have had a chance to see it today if I wanted to.
Yeah, you were busy
but I will. I'd forgotten. Yeah, I'd forgotten. I thought it was She-Hulk today and then tomorrow, but it's the other way around. Obviously, She-Hulk's finished now. But
done. Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay. All right. So that's that one then. And then I saw a couple of cinematic movies on last Friday. Okay. Although I didn't have to go to the cinema, I was able to watch them in Cinema George, which was very cool.
I was jealous of that.
And yet you can get them there. You can get them there. You would have got them the same way I did.
Not
have
at
you
home.
got Peacock? No.
I
didn't. Not got Peacock, or
I didn't see it on Peacock here. Isn't it here?
Yeah, so it's Halloween Ends, but of course I don't know if that's going to be your. I mean, are you interested in seeing that? I know you like the first one.
Yes,
I don't know what you thought of the second one.
Yeah, we were actually going to go to the theater for it. And then, but if it is on Peacock, we'll watch it.
Yeah, it's on Peacock. Came
I'll
out straight away. That's how I saw it.
Okay.
Yeah, via a VPN, but I was able to see it, and it's I mean it played beautifully on the big screen. The movie I didn't think much of, and obviously very spoiler free because if you're going to see it,
please.
It's a real departure from the other two, a radical departure from the other two, and I'll be curious to see what you make of it. Again, with your I mean, whatever else you may be with other movies, with horror, you're hypercritical, as I've discovered. Malignant, Dog Soldiers.
Oh my God. Jeez. You don't have to be hypercritical on those.
But this, I'll be curious to see what you make of it, because I think you're going to have some issues with this in terms of what they do. And it'll be an interesting discussion about that when you've seen it. But anyway, I'm glad I saw it. And I'm very glad I saw it at home, because if I was going to enjoy it anywhere, I was going to enjoy it at home more than I would have. Again, we've been through the commercial cinema issues with people talking on phones, trailers and all that crap, and the adverts and stuff that just annoy me before I start. So I was very glad to see it at home, and I saw it Friday morning, early doors, able to sit and enjoy it. And I had some significant reservations with it, but that was the way to see it. I mean, you might say it was the delivery system. Anyway, yes, so it was good to see it, and as much as I had issues with it, I think I might like it more next time when it comes out on 4K disc and I see it again. I think I'll enjoy it more.
Okay,
but it's still got some problems, so I'll be curious to see what you make of it.
Yeah, looking forward to.
And then the other one straight after that, literally, I thought I'd change of pace. I then watched Clerks 3, which again I thought was good. I enjoyed it. Have you seen that yet?
I haven't.
That's been out there for a while.
I haven't seen that.
I don't know. Are you into those? Do you like the other two?
I saw Clerks. I think I saw Clerks 2. I'm not huge. John is a huge Kevin Smith fan. John is
he did like the tweet that I put out about it.
Oh my God. He is a huge, he listens to all his podcasts. He listens to, Ralph Garman, who's Kevin Smith's buddy. He has a podcast. We both listen to that
Babylon,
one.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood Babylon. All of that. He loves that stuff. I like Kevin Smith. I just don't see the fascination with him.
And yet he's a fellow East Coaster.
I know.
Shouldn't you
No,
be
I like him. I think
fan?
he's a great guy. I think he's super I think he's super passionate. I think, honestly, I think he's just like me. He honestly, just like me and John, and it's like just super passionate. I mean, he gets all, emotional about the same things.
Yes.
I just don't. But here's the thing. It's like, I would expect, I think he's creative, but I think once you've seen, I love Dogma. Love that movie.
It's a great film. I've got the 4K. I've got the Blu-ray of that, actually.
Yeah. I love, what's the other one? The one he does where
Chasing Amy.
Jay and Silent Bob. All of that stuff.
So
I like those.
So you've got Strike Back and then Reboot and
I think those are funny. I like that. But at the
Mallrats?
But what's that? Mallrats. Yep.
Yeah, because that would have been comics and all that.
But I'm just not a big fan of that repetitive, kind of humor, dumb humor. It's just, and it's I don't know. It's I like them, but I'm just not a huge.
I would when you get some time, bearing in mind again as an emotional thing, when you get time, I would recommend watching Clerks 3.
Okay. Only
because there is, again, very spoiler free. I mean, Kevin Smith's put out stuff on Twitter about it as well, so it's not too spoilery. There is a mechanism in the film. I'm very careful how I choose my words, so I don't want to spoil it for you. There is a mechanism in the film that deals with how we relate to those who have passed on.
Oh,
that is beautiful. Oh. And it really is. It's a lovely way in which it's done, in a Kevin Smith way, of course.
Yeah.
And the culmination of that feeds through at the end, and the final shot, if you're not bawling your eyes out by then you're not paying attention.
You know me, Steve. I don't get emotional that easily.
Well, you might do it. This genuinely is there is a deftness of touch of all films. Clerks 3. I mean, but there is a beauty. There is a kind of a hard to say. Other than that, there is a beauty to it. That for anyone, I mean, I'll put this up on Twitter, and funny enough, Kevin Smith liked it actually. He liked the tweet and the thing. There is a anyone who has lost anybody in the last few years is going to watch that and feel an instant reaction to it.
Okay.
And again, and he's put that up too. That's not necessarily a spoiler. And so don't rush to see it if you're not a big fan. Although all of his, Mark Bernardin's in it, Ralph Garman's in it, very briefly, but they're really, Ben Affleck's in it, all his usual crew are in there. But it has an absolutely beautiful ending, which will you'll be in bits. I mean, I genuinely mean that, and it's worth it. Don't rush to it if you're not a fan.
Yeah.
But if you get time and it's only an hour and a half. They're always short, aren't they?
Yeah.
It is. I think you'll be very moved indeed. I genuinely, it hit me like I was not expecting that at all. And it's just it's lovely, and it connects to cinema, and it connects to pop culture. All this stuff, not just in terms of the dick jokes and all that stuff. That's in there too.
Yeah.
It has some poignancy and some beauty at the end. It's unexpected, cool. And it's worth seeing. So anyway, not to bring it down, but so I would recommend that. I put it this way: having watched it back to back with Halloween Ends, Clerks 3 is the one that I'll be watching again before I do Halloween Ends. Put it that way. But so worth seeing. Have you seen Tusk? Have you seen? Talk about horror films. What did you think of that?
Yeah, John and I did a podcast on it. We were laughing. It's
what? Not a Brightside
home
one,
theater.
Not
Brightside Chat. We did it at Chat.
Oh, what did you make of it?
We thought it was hysterical. We laughed at it. I mean, which is what it's supposed to be. It was basically, it's based off of a podcast of a dare on a podcast.
I listened to it.
Right?
Yeah.
And we both he sent it to me, and we will actually, my wife and I actually keep meaning to see Yoga Hosers.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it yet, but it's but it's one of those. So I do like that. So it's funny to say, like, I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan, but I'm just not completely enamored with his movies. If that's, if I ever met him, I'd want to say that to him, but I'd want to, because I want to be honest, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want to gush over, because I would gush over the man. I love what he's accomplished. I love what he's done. It's just not necessarily for me. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I think people say far worse to him. I mean, people say far worse to him. So I think I think he'd admire the honesty.
Yeah.
Because he does engage well. He seems to be a genuinely nice guy, and he engages with fans, and you never hear a bad word said about him in terms
of. What did I know? I met somebody that met him that actually was the same thing. I think it was in comics. Somebody met him, and they were like, he's just great. And it was like I think he did an opening for their comic, for their podcast or something like that. And it was like, they just met him. And it's like when you meet people at Comic Cons and stuff and you say, hey, can you do an open? I've never done it because I've heard most people don't do it because they don't want their voice associated. He's not like that. He's a great guy. He's a normal guy. And that's why I said he's a lot like me. Like, he just doesn't care. And it's like, he leans into everything. I think you're right. That's why I could probably say that to him in person, be like, I'm not a huge fan of your art, but I love you as an artist. Right. So that it's kind of what it is. But it's from everything I've heard and personal opinions I've heard from people that have met him, that he's a fantastic guy. Love to meet him someday. Love to run into him. But,
he was actually, they did a UK tour a few years back, and they actually, him and Jay Muse did a thing at Bristol University, which is 20 minutes away, and I didn't realize until the day after. I was like, I was kicking myself because he's famous for once he's finished, he comes out and says hello, and I would have, and he wanders through, and I would have quite liked to have had my copy of Dogma and Chase the Gamey and Mallrats all signed. That would have been quite nice. But so. I get that, and I think a lot of people really don't like his films. A lot of people don't like them, but I think that it has a heart to it that is hard to kind of ignore.
I think he's a lot, and when I say he's a lot like myself, is like I'm a home theater nerd, right? And I have a podcast about being a home theater nerd, right?
Yeah,
he's a movie nerd, and he just makes movies, but he's still a movie nerd at heart, right? So it's not like he's. You know what? He's not all about that Hollywood stuff. It's like, and he leans into it's just who he is, and he does what he wants to. He's not expecting to, be a billionaire and do. He knows he's not Tom Cruise. He knows he's not even looking for anything like that. He just loves to do what he does, and he's doing it. He's a true artist. So I can appreciate that.
He's had he would be more like Serial at Midnight. In as much as he when he does his films, he edits them on his laptop.
Yeah.
He doesn't screen them. He edits them on his laptop and watches his own movies on his laptop.
Yeah.
And yet in his bedroom, he's got a TV that's 110 inches.
Oh, nice.
He's got one of those old Panasonic, 110-inch TV in his bedroom. And, when they watch stuff, that's what they do. But generally, he watches his own movies on his laptop. So he will say, it doesn't matter where you see them.
Exactly.
And he's famous for taking it to friends' houses and going, do you want to just watch this on my laptop? Just see what you think of it?
Oh, jeez. That's great.
But there we go.
That's great.
So I would, when you get a minute, when you've got nothing else to watch, when it's just Clerks 3 or She-Hulk again, and, go for Clerks 3, and then, but be ready for the ending. Just be, not even the ending because it's layered through it, but just be ready for genuine sobs.
Will do.
Okay, so that's the other one.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd be curious to see what you make of it. So then the next one, then going back more Halloween-y, okay, because it is October still.
Yeah.
So I saw a film night before last, which floored me, and I don't know if you've heard of it. And I've got the thing. We can show the box, can't we? We can do that.
I bought that because
this
of your
film
tweets.
Here. Man. Oh, I'm sorry. You could see the thing. Yeah. You could see the light reflecting in it. So yeah. Okay. What a film!
Yeah.
Now,
go ahead, please.
I bought it as a blind buy. Someone that follows me on Twitter that is normally good for this stuff recommended it and said it's worth seeing. And I'm like, okay. And I had a gap in my police station tendencies on Sunday, so I nipped to a local shop. I like how you've adopted shop, by the way. I like how you keep saying that. So I won't say store because if you're saying shop, let's stick with shop. So I went to a local Blu-ray shop. And I saw that, and it was £15, which is it's about, with the issues we were talking about earlier, it's about parity now. It's about $15. It's about the same. Right? So, and I thought, it's a blind buy. If I don't like it, it's fine. It's only in Blu-ray here. It's not out in 4K here. So I took it back, and I watched it the same night. I thought, I'm in the mood. Let's just give it a go. Hard to say what to say about it. I don't want to spoil it either. It is absolutely riveting. I mean, I put it out on Twitter. I mean, it's fascinating, challenging, riveting, bananas.
Yeah.
But what a film! And whilst the ending of that, and again, no spoilers, you'll be like, "What the flying flip?" At the end of it. Nevertheless, it is absolutely fantastic. That's the film. So it's really unusual. You guys will love it because it's old English countryside and old English churches and villages that you guys will probably think that's what everything in England looks like, which it doesn't. But it was filmed actually less than an hour away from here because we live, in the countryside.
You're on an island. Isn't everything an hour from you?
No, it's really not. Although you might think so.
I know.
So I'm only kidding. Well, where I'm from in New Zealand, you can never be more than 60 miles away from a beach. Right. So that's how thin that island is. Literally, as far you're never more than 60 miles away. So anyway, so this is it's So a very, very unique film that I think is going to blow your mind because it's so unusual and weird, but in a good way. But in terms of the home cinema side of it, the home theater side, it could be the best 1080p disc I've ever seen.
Really?
And you know how wow. Now, you've mentioned before and I know I've heard other people mention about how 1080p on certain screens, you can't tell the difference between that and 4K. It's the HDR that would be the difference. This, for the first time, I would say, actually, I think that's probably right in terms of but what I mean is that the detail levels are so strong in this film that it would be hard to distinguish it between that and 4K other than the HDR. And I believe generally I can see a difference. But in this, it is stunningly good.
Yeah. The images you put up were that I bought it. I'd say unfortunately on Kaleidescape it's 4K with Atmos. So I grabbed it. Wow. And just off of your images, your comments, I was like, wow. I'm like, I got to check this out. And my wife and I are probably going to watch it this weekend.
I mean, it's weird. Don't get me wrong. It's odd, but if you can sit down and engage, phones off, and just let it wash over you, as we've talked about before, it is very odd indeed, but so well done, and it looks stunning. I mean, I'd be pleased if you see it. Let me know next week, or text me, or tweet it out.
You know right away.
Yeah, because I want to know what the HDR does for it, because I think, I mean, as amazing as it looks, the HDR on this could be transformative. It looks like it's been shot with HDR and 4K in mind. And Alex Garland did it, so of course he's an auteur anyway with the with Ex Machina and movies like that and Annihilation. And so and it looks as though it's been shot with this eye to HDR and 4K. There are, you've got light sources in the background and then darkness in the foreground, and you've got, big sky vistas in the background, but then greenery in the foreground, and the play and interchangeable of the light. And there's a sequence in a tunnel where you've got light at one end and pitch black in the foreground.
Yeah.
And that will look stunning in HDR, because it looked incredible in 1080p. I mean, those photos I grabbed, I could have probably grabbed another 50 of those and still not given it away. But I wanted to watch the film and not just be taking photos all the way through it. But I mean, I really want to know what you think of it. I'm so curious. It's coming out in Germany apparently, or somewhere in Europe, in 4K HDR. So when it does, I'll pick that up straight away. I think
it's got to be coming somewhere, because if it's on Kaleidescape, it's somewhere that somebody has it in 4K. It's been released in 4K with an Atmos track, so somebody's getting it. We don't have it yet either. We just have the Blu-ray.
No, do you have the Blu-ray there? Is that actually out over there as well? Because that I didn't know. So
yes, let me double check. Men, right? Men on Blu-ray. Men on Blu-ray. In DTS 5.1. Let me see. Is it here?
I mean, it's a British film. It's still quite new here. So
nope. And we don't have it in 4K over here yet either.
No. I mean, it may be that it might actually get a theatrical release there before it does it. I mean, it's one of those. It's an art film, really.
Yeah.
Albeit with some, fairly. I mean, it's an art film, but shot like a big budget blockbuster, because the cameras they've used on this just must be 6 or 8K. They have to be, because you just don't get this kind of level of three-dimensionality. At times, it looks like a BBC documentary. It looks like a Planet Earth at times, and there are long, lingering shots of apple trees and fields, and it. I mean, you'll be blown away. It's like looking through a window, quite literally. It's really good.
Looking forward to
and
it.
It is a bit. There is some gore in it. I mean, I don't know how Jen is with gore, but
no, she's fine.
Cool. So there is a bit of gore in it. But also, I mean, what I want to do when you've seen it, I then want to talk to you endlessly about what it's actually saying, because it's a film that you could. It's a pub film. It's a film you go to the pub afterwards and talk about it for 10 hours, and no one will necessarily agree with what the film is saying and showing and doing, especially the ending. So it's one of those where that could be a good green room conversation.
That'll be fun.
I talked to it the next morning with a friend of mine, trying to explain it to him. And as I was explaining it, he's like, I think that's something else. And we were just talking about it on the way in.
That's cool.
So
that's why, John and I were talking about Predestination, and you're like, it's the same idea. It's like, you see that, and it's like, when it's over, you're like, I think the difference is, I think everybody agrees at the end of that. They don't know. Like, what the hell? How did you, I mean, John and I didn't disagree. we were just like, you just want to talk to somebody about it. And that's what kind of, you said that in your tweet as well about men, that like, this is a great conversation piece. And that had me intrigued too. So
it's got, I mean, it will feed into our conversation about Invisible Man as well, in terms of domestic violence.
Nice.
And the victims of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. We love that stuff.
We need to get our sort of tank tops on. We're going to talk about things like that. You know, white ones, wife beaters, isn't it?
Yeah,
you guys
the string
call them.
ones.
I love that phrase. No one uses that here. Just very quickly, while we're talking about that, no one uses that phrase here. When I was in America, when I was in Boston, 98. All summer long, I had some, what we call them, vests. Okay, you guys would call them, as I turned out, wife beaters or tank tops, isn't it?
Tank tops,
is the proper term.
I try not
that's
to
something
say
else
that.
here.
Yeah.
It's entirely different here. You know, tank top means something else here. So when I had this on, I had a white one as well. You know, and there's me thinking, it's Bruce Willis, isn't it? It's Die Hard. How cool is that? And someone within a couple of days said, "Why have you got your wife beater on?" And I'm like, "You what?" I said, "Your wife beater." So what are you talking about? Yeah. And they said, "This." And okay. Just like
I won't even wear a white
phrase here.
I won't even wear a white one because of that stereotype. I have the exact same tank tops to wear like under a shirt or something. Like I'll wear it if I need to, but it's either blue or black or gray. I won't wear a white one because of that. Just because of. And it's like, I just I don't even like the term. I don't like to say. I'm like, that's just awful. Like that's like. How you get that? It's like,
excuse me,
but yeah.
So it's but it so as I say, there was a the main person. Again, it's in the trailer. It's not a spoiler. Is the victim of domestic violence?
Okay.
And how she then relates to the world and what she experiences, whether it's real or not, or don't know. We'll talk about that after. Is filtered through that lens, and it is.
Yeah. What's perception and what's reality type thing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I love that stuff.
As I said, I can't say, but Predestination. I think was that the one I told you about.
Yeah.
I'm going to tease you about that till Kingdom Come. There's no getting away.
Everybody should. That was a good one. That was again. But yes. I said, did you hear me talk to John about that? And then
to John.
Yes, John. Not
was
Steve.
It Andrew? Was it Brock?
Was
it
John
Brock?
I Brocked it. And it was so funny because I was like, oh, all right, I have Steve here or whatever his name is. Yeah, that was funny. He was great.
It was great. But so that's Men. So that one I recommend to everybody. I mean, I
awesome.
want to. That's one where you could set up a group chat about that and talk about that forever.
That could be a thread in the green room.
Yeah, it could. Well, I looked up some interviews afterwards because Rory Kinnear is one of the main characters in it. And he's got one theory, which I'm not sure I agree with. The director's got another theory, and of course, it's he wrote it and directed it. The female lead,
more than a theory.
Jessie Buckley's got another theory as to what it means.
Oh wow!
And so this is the beauty of it. So there's so much discussion to have.
Oh yeah!
And yet it's not weird for weird's sake. Sometimes you see a film and you're thinking, well, it's just deliberately being obtuse. It's trying to be clever. This film isn't trying to do that. It's still trying to give you a creepy experience. It's trying to unnerve you.
Yeah.
But it's also open to lots of discussion. Cool. So I recommend that to everyone. And John, when he listens to this, because I know he does, and fair play to him, get it, listen, watch it. Let's all talk about it because I need someone else who's seen it to be able to just go,
there we go.
What did you think?
Exactly. All right.
And everybody else as well. So that'll be great. And then in terms of stuff this week, I finally got that.
Nice.
That's thanks to you guys.
Thank you. Yes. Hans Zimmer live in Prague.
Yeah. So finally got it. It's not the kind of thing I'd normally buy.
Right.
Because I'm like you. I know you've said before, you don't normally sit and listen to music. Right. And I'm the same. I exactly with you. The time I listen to music or podcasts is when I'm moving. When I'm mowing the lawns, when I'm washing the car, when I'm driving here, there, and everywhere, or I'm walking, to the shop, not the store. So when I'm doing that, then I'd listen to music. That's how I listen to it. So the idea of sitting down for a concert is it's very unusual for me.
For me, yeah.
So I sort of held off a bit. But over the weekend, and again, I listened to your podcast on it, the one you guys did about it, and thought, do you know what? I love the films, and it sounds very interesting. So that arrived yesterday. So haven't given that chance to have a watch yet.
We'll talk about that next week because you're gonna. It is. It's something that you wouldn't expect that you're just gonna be like. You can't. You get Shawshanked. You can't not.
Yeah.
You can't walk away. You're like, let me just try this one. Next thing you know, you're like, oh my god, and you can't wait for the next one. Then he tells little stories about them too, and it's like,
oh right,
it's
okay.
in between each piece. But that's one of the movies that, or one of the discs that I really attribute to bringing you guys on. Bringing John in, bringing you in, because that's one that listeners, and I want to say it was WV Brew might have mentioned it to me. If it wasn't him, who knows?
Don't do that again.
John Brock.
Don't go there again.
No, this was before John Brock was listening, so I don't know. It was a while ago, but it has come up on the podcast in the past. But the thing, and I did see it, and I did mention it. I just said, yeah, that was really good. But it was because I was doing all my other things, it was like, how do I get back to that? But it takes a different, each of us has a different view. Each of us has different tastes, and bringing them in, and that's what exposes you to you sitting down and watching a concert, right? And it's not just what I'm seeing and hearing each week now. It's everybody, and it's easier for us to talk about. Obviously, the podcasts are getting longer, but there's a lot more content out there than just what I'm viewing, and that one had been brought up a few times on the podcast by listeners, but because you're just focused on what my mind sees and hears, it didn't really get fleshed out. And because John comes on and he watched it, I was like, oh yeah, and I had already had it. I already had it on Kaleidescape because I knew it was great. But again, it's not like I sit down here each week and don't have anything to talk about, but it just didn't come up. Right. So it's just great. It's great.
Yeah.
So
there was that one. So I've got that to watch. And then the other one I had, I had Super Pets arrive today from the States. So that's the League of Super Pets, which again, you're not really into the animated stuff, are you?
I love the animated stuff.
Yeah, sorry, that stuff. Yeah. Okay.
I love
the
animated stuff. Yes. If the movie deserves it. Like if it's a good movie, and I'm waiting to hear on that. It's actually on. It's
good. It is a good film. It is a good movie. I've seen it. Yeah,
so I'll grab it.
I haven't seen the disc. Yeah, I haven't seen the disc, but I saw the film. Funny enough, I saw it in Spain when we were over there. I saw it there, and I not on the iPad. I hasten to add. But but only on a 32-inch TV, so not that different,
right? Yeah,
but the film is hilarious. It's really quite stuck them together. Put four together like that Sony Trinitron, the 200-inch thing, just a load of iPads. And I really enjoyed it. It's really fun, and as a comic guy, which you are, then I think you'll really get a kick out of it. There are both deep cuts and kind of stuff. Yeah, so I really enjoyed that. So I'm looking forward to watching that in 4K. Ralph Potts did a review, and I think he was pleasantly surprised at the presentation. Yep. So I'm looking forward to that again. But what I have watched, I finished it off tonight, watched a little bit of it yesterday, was The Bad Guys, talking about animation. I don't know if you've seen that. That is very fun and worth seeing if you haven't seen it. Yeah, it's
what's that one?
That's I haven't got it. It's got Sam Rockwell. It's where you've got the big bad wolf, a spider, a piranha, a snake, and a shark, and they're all work together at doing a heists. And they decide one day to be good, so they won't be the bad guys; they'll be the good guys. It's a DreamWorks animation. It's only 2022. It's a new film. It's not been out long, and I imported it from the States because again, it's 4K over there. It's not here. It's worth it. Now the animation on that's beautiful. It's really done in a stylized way, and it's basically an animated Ocean's 11. And you've even got the snake wears the Carl Reiner's hat in Ocean's 11. He's got the cream hat and the red shirt. The snake wears that for most of the film, and you've got and they even talk about Clooneying people, and that kind of thing. So it's well worth seeing. Give it a rent, but it's really fun, and that one. I wasn't going to bring that up because animation's not normally something we talk about, but the Atmos track on that is really nice. Really, really good. Loads of overhead effects, lots of panning, some decent bass. There's quite a nice little sequence where they've got like like the bat, the sort of the bat line, when Batman fires the gun up and he goes up on the rappel line. Well, there's quite a fun little bit where the wolf does that. and you hear, and as the cable and the Gatling grappling hook goes up into the air, it pulls his pants off as it goes up, and as it does it, you can hear it go up the screen and up and over the roof, and you just hear a very slight noise right up in the ceiling, right up in the distance of this thing just sort of stopping in the ceiling, and it's a really cool effect. And it's like, wow, this is Atmos trying to push the roof off.
Yeah,
so it's a really cool, fun thing. So you can rent that. It's called The Bad Guys.
Yep.
If you type that into Kaleidescape or Google, it'll come up because it's still new.
Yeah,
and it is worth a watch. I think you'll like that. It is fun. So we did that. And then the last one, well, I've had the Halloween box set arrive. I don't know if you guys did anything on that. That's that one there. That's the thing was.
You got the box set.
Which was, that's the most recent, that's the second Halloween set after last year's one. And then we've got the Naked Gun movies as well, which was the random one, which arrived yesterday.
You saw that. You had that drop in. Yep.
That's from Norway.
Really?
I had to report. Yeah, it was £17 from Norway for all three of them, or it was about £27, and again, pretty much parity with the dollar, to buy it here. So I imported it for £10 cheaper. Very strange.
Yeah.
But that's all right. I've only watched the first one, and that, I don't know. Have you got those? Is that something you're interested in?
I love I love the Naked Gun movies. I don't have them. I own them probably on DVD, maybe on Blu-ray. I'm not sure. Not sure.
A lot of Blu-ray on this.
Yeah.
The first one in particular is really nice. Yeah, it's not, you're not going to be like, oh wow, I'm going to demo my system with that, but it looks really good, and it's held up well. Bill Hunt reviewed them a while back. In fact, it was this set that he reviewed, and he talked on the digital bits, and he mentioned that the first one's really good, and the other two are image-wise not quite as good, but not bad. But yeah, I mean, I'm very impressed with the first one. So yeah, worth a watch. Yeah, and that's about it for my lot for this week. I think that's enough to be getting on with. I think.
Do we want to busy week? Yeah, we want to talk about world hunger. Is there anything else?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's Any other things we need to put to piece?
Yeah, we've been on some weird tracks today, but that's all right. It's all good.
It is. It's just nice to talk about frivolous stuff,
sandbox of life.
Yeah, well, quite. It's always good to do.
But there's no sand in your area. Cleanliness
we don't,
next to godliness with you. Jeez.
Well, obviously, yes. It's all got to be spotless. Car,
there we go.
Office, house, other office, cinema room, all spotless. It's got to be. I can't stand it.
Do you have anywhere that you allow to be dirty?
No.
Yeah.
Can't stand it.
Me. Yeah,
I get a right. So, and again, I don't think it's OCD, because with OCD, as I understand it, here we go. Let's get psychological now. Right?
I know. Hey, world hunger. We'll go this route.
That's it. Go the other way. As I understand it, OCD is someone who thinks that something bad will happen if they don't do X, Y, Z. Right? Whereas I'm not like that. I just like things to be in a special place and tidy, because that helps my mind to stay uncluttered. I find if I'm surrounded by mess, my mind is messy.
Correct.
I am
100% with
nonsense.
You. I'm 100% with you. It's like, but it is true though. I do the same thing at work. It's like, I've worked with guys, trained guys. I've worked with guys, and it's like, why I always put my tools down in the exact same spot. Like say I'm working on 6 cars around me, but I go the furthest car away. I'll go and use my sander to sand the damage, sand the bumper. And I walk back to my truck and put my sander exactly where it is. People are like, why do you do that? I go, because I always know where it is. So you're quicker when you know where it is. And they're like, and I've had guys train me, and I'm like, but guys will be like, I spent more time driving around giving guys sanders, giving guys tools, because they'll be working on a rear bumper. They'll pop the trunk and they'll set it down inside they'll lose rolls of paper towels, sanders, tools, guns, not guns, spray guns. They'll lose these things because they set them down and they forget where they set them. But it's like, it's the same thing. Clutter if you have no clutter, you're just, when my son works with me, he knows where I put everything now. I'm like, why isn't this? And it's literally still on the tailgate of my truck, which I'm working out of. It's there. It's just not in the exact spot I always leave it in. So like when I go over there, I'll have a bunch of tools. I'm like, where's my Dad, it's right there. That's not the spot. It's so funny. So I can appreciate your mind.
Yeah, I never lose my keys because they're always in the same place. I never lose my phone because whichever room I'm in, it's always in the same place.
And if it's not, all you got to do is track back. Where would I have put it down differently? Boom, found it. Right.
Well, when I walk into my office, if I walk into we've got an open plan office now at the firm that I work at, and no one else, not a single other soul in the building, has my level of, not even close. So they just put whatever's there. I mean, my boss, his office looks like a bomb has hit it. In fact, the bomb would probably clean it up.
But their minds understand it. That's the irony of it.
It's where they want it to be.
It.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Exactly.
That's clutter to them.
Yeah.
The clutter to them is comfort.
Right.
They like that. Whereas to me, tidiness is the comfort.
Right.
To them, it's the disheveledness nature of it makes them feel, well, it's all here, it's all fine. But I honestly, you could walk in there tomorrow and you'd know which desk is mine. Right. Mine's got the Red Sox baseball on it from '98 again, and it's got one of the foam fingers, the Boston Red Sox foam fingers. Yeah. Other than that, it is spotless. And every time I go in, every day I go in. I don't have to go in every day anymore, but when I do, first thing I do is dust it. And people look at me as if I'm crazy. They really do.
I do. That's how I keep my truck. That's how I keep everybody like this thing. I have 220,000 miles on it, and they're like, "How does this thing always look? This is what I live in. This is what I do." I'm like, "What do you want me to do?"
Yeah, that's got to be done.
All right.
But there we go.
Wow, what a week, Steve. Next week we're going to talk home theater.
Oh yeah, good. That's a great idea. Let's.
Well, we try that subject.
Yeah. Oh, it's all good fun. It's just nice to chat and just while away the stress.
You needed it today after that day. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
No worries.
We'll be back next. I'm sure we forgot something too, but we'll be back next week.
All right, we'll do. Cheers, DJ. Take steady, mate.
And we're back.
Whew. What a trip.
I know. It always is.
What a trip.
It's always worth the time and effort to go over there and see Steve.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Had a little storm on the way back,
Yeah.
over the
turbulence.
Over the mid-Atlantic. Yeah. Oh, these fun podcasting puns. So much fun. All right. You ready to get to 4K releases for this week?
Yeah.
All right. What do we got? Whoo! This is a big one. Kind of excited for this first one too. I haven't seen this. Not sure how it's going to translate in 4K, but it is a movie I really loved. Usual Suspects.
Yeah. That's problematic.
Why?
That's one of my favorite movies. But
Yeah.
it's also a Kevin Spacey movie.
Ah!
And that's problematic.
Yeah.
So.
If we knew everything about everybody, we'd have problems with everything.
I know. But I love that movie.
Yeah.
I really like it a lot. I mean, it's not necessarily a huge 4K movie.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
It'll be good. It'll look great and it'll sound great, but it's not like a Top Gun Maverick or anything.
No.
But
although it does have a jet scene in it.
It does.
When he lands. This movie here was one of the first movies I watched with the audio commentary back on Laserdisc. Yeah, and that's when I think it's Bryan Singer that does it. And there's a scene when they come into LA when they have to, where do they start this, in New York or something, and they had to go to LA. And they show the jet. I've talked about this in the past, but they show the jet coming in and you see it coming into to land, and it's coming at you. And then the camera goes to it as it's touching down. Now you're behind it. And he's like, look at it. He goes, 4 engines. Now it's got 2.
Right.
So when it flips from the behind, it's like it's only a 2-engine jet.
Oh, wow. That's funny.
But you don't know. And it's like, you would never notice that. And it was one of those little things, but there's a ton of stuff in it. I'm sure I'm sure they'll have that audio commentary on here. But that I remember watching this and listening to it because it is one of those movies where there's so many little things going on throughout the movie that are clues for the end of the movie. So watching it with the audio commentary, you get even more. It was a lot of fun. It is a great movie. I mean,
it is. It really is a good movie.
Yeah.
But
and this, from 1995. And by the way, all these 4K releases are coming out next Tuesday, October 25th. So looking forward to that. Another one, 1980, Michael Caine, Angie Dickinson, Dressed to Kill.
Oh,
you don't remember this?
A
Brian De Palma film. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
I didn't know it based on those two people.
Oh, come on. Well, if you see it on YouTube and the legs and the nylons, come on. We were 10 when this came out.
Yeah.
And
good movie.
I remember those posters.
Yeah, me too.
I think I wanted to go see The Rescuers just so I could see this poster at the theater. All right. Moving right along. Nope comes out next week. Also coming out with box sets. It's Nope regular collector's edition. There's a regular edition. There's a steel book coming out, but I have the collector's edition up there right now. So
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either. I have it on Kaleidescape. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I think I might take that in next week. It's gotten good reviews home theater wise too.
Yeah,
Ralph Potts really
honestly,
liked it.
It didn't really grab me.
The trailer was
when it was in the theaters.
Yeah,
I liked Get Out.
Yeah, I love Get Out.
But this one didn't seem that interesting to me. But I've heard, like you said, I've heard good things about it.
The trailer to me, I saw the trailer so many times going to see Top Gun, going to see Jurassic World Dominion.
Everything.
Elvis. It was but every time I saw it, it was a different one of them, it looked like it was a comedy. I didn't know which way we were going with it. So it didn't really grab me. And then I heard some reviews on it. And I was like, oh, okay, that sounds pretty good. I'll check that out in the theater. And now I'm seeing that it has a good home theater presence too. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 from 1986. That is coming out next week as well. Not sure I'll pick that one up, but for all the horror fans out there. Columbia Classics. I'm spitting everywhere off of that one. This one here, it's Columbia Classics Volume 3 is coming out with, it's got, let's see, It Happened One Night, From Here to Eternity, To Sir with Love, The Last Picture Show, Annie, As Good as It Gets, all in 4K Ultra HD. This is the big classic, collections.
Yeah.
I bought the first two. I don't think I'll be picking this one up. I think I'll probably just wait. Probably grab, I don't know what I would grab out of that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think maybe As Good as It Gets, maybe. But other than that, Last Duel in 4K from 1973, collector's edition, Jack Nicholson. Have you ever heard of this?
No, it's not what I thought. It was something else came to my mind. There's another movie called The Last Duel, I believe, that's not that.
Last Detail. I'm sorry, not Duel.
Oh.
Last Detail. Okay. Did I say Duel? I meant
you
Detail.
said Duel. Yeah, I was saying that's a more recent movie.
No. Yeah, I know, huh? That's probably why I said that. Sorry about that. It's The Last Detail.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson. Like I said, from 1973, Jack Nicholson, and he's like got no shirt on and like an old Popeye the Sailor Man hat on.
Oh, okay.
So it's on the cover. I've never heard of it.
No.
And you know what's funny is I used to, when we first started doing these, if I hadn't heard of it, I didn't include it. But then I was like, whatever. And I get more comments from people like, no, that's great. So it's good.
Yeah.
I'm just doing all of them.
It's good to do that. Yeah. Because people have seen it
and
like will tell you whether it was good or not.
Yeah, exactly. Here's another one I hadn't seen from 1980, The Changeling in 4K. A Peter Medak film. Haven't heard of that. Looks like a horror, obviously. Not obviously, but it's October, so kind of get that.
A lot of horror movies.
Another one here, The Werewolf vs. the Vampire Woman, 4K from 1971. Okay. For the
Yep.
horror fans. Children shouldn't play with dead things. Good words to live
Good
by,
life
but
advice. Yeah,
yep,
yeah.
good life. Yep, exactly. From 1973, that's getting a 50th anniversary edition. Nice. Hadn't heard of it. And
Nope.
then this last one looks a little bit more modern, but it actually isn't. It's from 1970, Quiet Days in Clichy. It's getting a 4K release.
Okay.
This actually, if you go to YouTube, John, the cover of this box actually looks like something we did in college, probably. Drew in college, I should say. Woo!
I would say I did a lot in college.
Yeah,
but-
well, if you see what this cover is, you're going to be like, whoa, what you guys into? I meant
Right.
Drew because it's in charcoal, and it's like
Okay.
a woman laying with a couple of people.
Oh, okay.
Good thing I clarified. Woo!
Yes, yes.
You did, DJ and John did what in college? No, it's yeah, it kind of, but it totally looks like something we drew in figure class with
Right.
charcoal and, ooh. I could go elsewhere if we were in the green room, but
Yeah.
yeah. Henry
It's
Miller's Quiet Days in Clichy. So
Never heard of it.
yeah, I kind of stepped in it there. And that's it. So let's get out of here. Let's drop the curtain
Yeah.
on this one. That was
Yeah.
funny.
I don't
Whoops.
probably pick up Nope and Usual Suspects, but
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd like to hear about Dress to Kill. I'll be interested to see what Mike says about it from
yeah.
Michael Scott and Ralph. Yeah, I think that's enough. We can move on from here.
Okay.
Let's move on to our real HT experiences. Get that projector powered up here. Using all the P words. Where's the power?
Projector
focus?
power. Yeah.
There it is.
Some good alliteration.
Yeah. Projector powered up.
Peter
All right.
Piper's projector.
Let me find what we got here. What do you want to talk? Oh, so we'll do the title of the show, Untouchables. Go
Okay.
with that direction. That was a good one. I got some notes on that. It's a good one. So we'll save that one for last.
All right.
What do you want to hit with first? Rings of Power. Yeah, let's do do that, and then the new Netflix show we'll save for second to last since I watched a little of
Okay.
it. Did you finish that?
I did.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's do Rings of Power then.
Rings of Power episode 8,
See,
which
where's
was the
graphic?
season finale of that.
There it is.
I mean, I gave the whole episode 3 boxes of popcorn.
I
Like,
noticed you're
it was
giving out
just-
boxes of popcorn and
It
everything
was just
here.
a home theater treat, like from start to finish.
Whew.
It was
Well, John,
Awesome.
let's bring this to the YouTube channel too. We have 3 boxes of popcorn up there for Rings of Power. I just put the 3
Awesome.
boxes of popcorn up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
I mean, that's the extent of my note. I didn't take specific notes. I was too busy watching the show.
Yeah.
But I mean, it looked awesome. It sounded awesome. Like I was blown away by the sound through almost the entire episode. I mean, I'm sure it had a few quiet moments, but
Yeah.
it felt like it was engaged from start to finish.
It's
No.
it's a great series that
Yeah.
I'm hoping we get in 4K on disc.
I hope so. I hope we do.
Fingers crossed.
I'm
because-
encouraged because
Jack
of
Ryan.
Jack Ryan
Yeah.
coming to disc. Hopefully that'll bring this to disc as well. It deserves it.
Yeah.
I know it gets a lot. I mean, I can't help but look at comments on Facebook posts and stuff, but of course, Amazon is promoting the final episode and trying to get people to watch it.
Right.
And then every one of them has 1,100 comments of just people just bashing the crap out of it. And it's like,
So-
first of all, if you don't like it, just move on. Like,
Move on.
do you really feel the need to have to put your
Yeah.
comments in writing? But I don't know what people want. Like, I really don't.
I know. And that's why I don't read that stuff.
I
And
know.
it's
I
like,
just can't help it.
I know you
help
can't,
myself.
but John, let me try to look at it this way. If you had a friend that just kept saying like bad stuff, negative stuff,
I wouldn't talk to him anymore.
Right. So why do you keep going back to this friend, that social media thing? It's like, it's like it's like you're
It's
just
like a car wreck, man. I can't
I
help
know. And like I just don't go. Where do I get all my negativity from? You. I have
Me.
that friend. And
Yeah.
it's not you, it's you bringing it to me. Like, DJ, I know you
Right.
work really hard to avoid it, but let me give you a
Let
shovelful.
me give it to you. Yeah.
No, and to be fair, I'm just joking with you. I see it and stuff. I just scan past it. I don't pay attention to it, and it's like you can't help it. It is there.
it's
That's
just
why we
out
founded the
there,
podcast. But it's
Right.
The whole bright side thing, and it's like, look, if you don't like it, move on. I don't. You know how much crap I don't like in life, and I don't go to their
Yeah, you just
websites and go,
Right, you just
why
don't
do
hear
people
about it.
play the piano so much?
Right. If I don't like something, you really just don't hear about it. I mean, unless somebody asks me in my opinion of it, and then I'll
Correct.
I'll talk about it, but I don't go out of my way to post
Right.
my negative comments on
I know.
on things, But
Yeah.
it's just like yes or no. Is it like 100% faithful adaptation of the writings of J.R.R. Tolkien? No, it's not.
No.
But who cares? Like, if you want that, it's there. You can go read it.
Right.
Like, if you want that story that he wrote, go read it. This is an adaptation of his work. It was never touted anywhere. Like, the top of the banner, it doesn't say 100% faithful recreation of, of Tolkien's
Exactly.
work. I mean, The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings weren't 100% faithful recreations. If they were, we'd have Tom Bombadil throughout these stories.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have 12 hours worth of
I forgot
Hobbit
about
movies,
him. Yeah.
I mean, these are all adaptations of things.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't know what you wanted from this series that it didn't deliver. Like, I thought
Yeah.
it was great.
It was.
Just
And
my humble opinion.
as a
but
home theater experience, I thought, like you said, it brought a lot. It had,
Yes.
like we talked about last week, where we had the going from all that red and then going right into the greens
To
of
the
that
green,
forest
yeah.
and everything. And this one, same thing this week. That
Yeah.
the story. I can't wait for the next season. I can't wait. I mean, it was just so much fun. And then it got me. I finished. I'll talk about. Well, I could talk about it here, but I finished The Hobbit, which I
Right.
told you I was doing, and I kind of got Shawshanked, as John and I talked about in
Yeah.
that podcast, Shawshanked, by Jack Ryan. But at the same time, it's like when I went back to The Hobbit, especially going from this, as good as this looks, and it does, these look great. This and the same with House of the Dragon, and you're like, they look so good. But
Right.
when you go back to that physical media and you pop that in,
Yeah,
and you'd be like,
Yeah.
there's it's just, you need to let it wash over you and take in so much streaming, that because we had so much, we were blessed with Rings of Power every week and House of the Dragon every week, and you can't wait for this content, and you just and Andor, and it's like you're just enjoying it. Then you pop in a physical disc of something, especially where it's like The Hobbit, which is so closely related to this, that you're
Right.
like, oh wow, look at that clarity. And it really is like a stunning difference between the two, as
Right.
good as streaming does look. But it's like when you take in so much in a row and then jump back to that physical, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
And it does. And I'm enjoying The Hobbit so much compared to when I first experienced it. And part of it is
Yeah.
that it's just the, HT drool. You're just sitting there going, this is beautiful. This
This looks
sounds
awesome.
amazing. And it really does. So, if for nothing else, I hope the Rings of Power, I mean, I'm thinking of going through the next two Hobbit movies. I will go through the next two Hobbit movies, and then I should be all primed and ready to go and redo Lord of the Rings over again during Christmas vacation, like I always did. And I've just
Yeah.
finished them. But to me, that's how good Rings of Power was, both story-wise and home theater-wise, that it makes you just want to stay in that world, right? And God knows there's enough content
Well,
already
there's enough to
there.
keep you there for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah, like I said, those movies are my Christmas break movies, so I'll definitely be revisiting them again after the holidays because, like like I mentioned, we take off the week between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah.
Last couple years, we've been watching those Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies. Take one a day, and
yeah. So I'm gonna probably do Lord of the Rings again this year. Just even though I just finished them, but.
Although now we don't have a New Year's Day Cobra Kai to watch.
I know. We're going to have to come up with something else.
We'll find something else, yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's hit up Andor.
All right.
Andor episode 6 this week this is coming out. Obviously 7 is already out. We're always a week behind. I don't know what Steve and I said, because by the time Steve and I talk, it'll probably 7. We'll have a couple of comments on it, so that's kind of neat. But yeah, episode 6. This is the one that had the Aurora Borealis scene.
Yeah, which was
really, really
beautiful.
Good. Yeah. Oh, really? And again, a lot of dark scenes, dark outdoor scenes, dark indoor scenes, and how good this really does look. They're doing it. I'm really enjoying this. My son hasn't even started it yet. No. And he's like, "What do you think?" I go, "I love it." Steve's calling it's a little slow, and it is. I'm not going to argue with you.
And again, I listened into last week's show. I side with Steve more on this show because it is
but are you not enjoying that, though?
No, I like it, and I am enjoying it, but I don't know. It hasn't really sunk its teeth into me yet, as like The Mandalorian did, or even Obi-Wan.
Right.
I go to it every week, and I'm never not going to watch it. And I do like the story, but I'm not. Yeah, like I said, it hasn't really. Like I said, I'm not like actively just can't wait to see it every week.
Yeah.
But I watch it the day it drops,
right.
I watch it every week.
Yeah.
But I do feel like, again, it feels like every third episode, because these are 3-episode story arcs. So this is episode 6. And so
we're halfway through, episode, which is great.
But that third episode is always like the big action episode.
Yep.
And it's kind of seems like episode 3, 6, 9, and 12 will be the really good ones. And this was a really good episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, it's the series is there for me, but it's not like I don't like it as much as you do, obviously.
Right.
But
see, I agree 100% with both of you guys on all of that. But I still like it. I look forward to it. I feel like we all do agree. I'm just excited every week.
You're more excited about it.
Yeah, but it's like, aren't you excited for tomorrow's episode? As we record this now, you're not excited to sit down and see where they go next? I'm like, I can't wait to sit in my theater and watch a fresh Star Wars story.
I will watch it almost right away, like as soon as we get home from work or whatever. But like, I haven't been thinking about it all week. Whereas, like, I'm already thinking about next week's House of the Dragon. Like, I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah.
And so, like, it doesn't have that, like, I'm not thinking about it throughout the week, waiting for that.
There's not a lot to think about, right? It's like, and that's where I agree with you. It's like there's not a lot here, right? But I still I guess it's just the fanboy in me, and it's like I just like it. I actually think it's a lot like, and I've said this before, I think to you, is that it's like episode 1. What's the
Phantom?
Phantom
Menace. Yeah.
Phantom Menace. I knew it was Phantom something. Phantom Menace. My mind went blank. But it's a lot like that, where it's like there's a lot of backstory of like the government and what's going on and how that's a whole part of the story that hasn't even really played out yet. Right. You have that one part. I just like all this little nitty gritty government stuff that's going on here, that you're just like, it's just a relaxing thing to sit and watch, and it has some nice action sequences, and just a nice, easy pace.
It does, and like I said, I thought this episode was really, really
It's
good.
the best so far.
Right.
Home
But
theater
now
wise,
I'm
I
looking at episode 7 and thinking, okay, well,
It's gonna
this
be
is
a
the first
letdown.
episode of a new arc, and it's going to be
Yeah.
a build for, till we get to episode 9 again. So, and then again, also, like, now where I disagree with Steve is, like, I really like Rogue One, the movie.
Yes.
Like, I loved
Oh,
that
yeah.
movie, and I thought it was really good. But I also agree with him that, like, Cassian is not the most likable guy.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
And he's not.
I don't think
he
he's supposed
doesn't
to
have. Well, he's not, but he is kind of like that one expression actor, like
Yeah.
Steve was saying last
He's
week,
always that brooding look. That,
he's just always got that in every show. Like he
Right.
was in Narcos for 3 seasons. He looked the same except he had a mustache. It's
So
like Diego Luna
Yeah.
is just kind of like he plays Diego Luna. So
Jack Black.
yeah.
Same guy
Or
every time.
Ryan Reynolds plays
Ryan
Ryan
Reynolds.
Reynolds in
Yeah.
every movie.
Yeah.
So
I know. One of the things that I've seen this on social media and people saying, like, why did they make a movie about a character that like was like meaningless in the movie? But then I also heard Rob H say it. He was like, I don't really remember him that much from the first movie. And I agree, because before I saw episode 1, I was like, why are they making like Andor? Like, I really didn't get his role. I didn't understand him. I didn't really see the fascination with what I considered a bit character from Rogue One.
well, right, because
But-
he wasn't even the star of that movie.
But I went back, like I said, a couple weeks ago when the first 3 dropped. I watched all 3 episodes, went back and watched Rogue One. And after seeing just the first 3 episodes of this, when you watch Rogue One, he actually is the star. He's the second star. It's her and him.
Well, he's the second star,
Right.
But
She's the star, but without him, nothing gets done in that movie.
well,
It's
right,
amazing.
and-
No, my point is, I was ignorant of that,
yeah.
because
But
you're
this is a
so looking at
story-
her.
As much about the forming of the rebellion as it is Cassian Andor. And,
Right.
like, that's why we're telling the story.
Right.
Because again, you could say the same thing about the Obi-Wan series we just watched. Why
Yep.
go back and watch that series?
Well,
you
it's
already know
Obi-Wan.
the outcome.
We love Obi-Wan, but
But you know the
Right.
outcome of both of those characters. So yes, we know that Cassian Andor gets to Rogue One and doesn't make it out of that movie and all that. But like the show is as much about the rebellion as it is about Cassian.
right.
And if you're a Star Wars fan, that's why you're tuning in and that's why you care about this show.
Right.
Because all those movies were built on the rebellion. Like the rebellion was the backbone of all of those movies.
Right.
So this is how we get there.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And that's what I like about it. I'm probably, when the series is over, I'll go back and watch Rogue One again, because
Right.
we're going to be closer to it. But yeah, are we getting a second season on this? Do you know?
Yes, it's 2
Oh,
seasons.
It's so good.
And,
And 12 episodes.
Yeah, 12
So
episodes
good.
this season, and then next season it butts right up to the beginning of Rogue One. It ends
Oh,
basically.
nice.
So somewhere along the line,
They'll
either at
probably
the
come
end
out
of-
with an extended edition of Rogue One too.
maybe, but somewhere either before the end of this season or in next season, we meet K2SO. We have to get that whole thing going.
Yeah.
Because that's an established relationship once Rogue One's,
Right.
it's a robot and a guy. But I mean, that's established when that movie begins. So at
Yeah.
some point, they have to capture him, reprogram him. So I guess maybe we get Alan Tudyk at some point through.
Yeah.
Tudyk is great and everything. So having him in this show is just a bonus.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't go wrong with that. Every time you hear his voice, you're just like, oh, goody. This is going to
Yeah.
be good. And sometimes it takes you like a few scenes to figure that's Alan Tudyk, because
Right.
he's so crazy with his voice. And remember that show, Resident Alien? Did you see the season 2 of that?
Yeah,
So
I was
good.
just going to say, we've watched season 2 or 3, actually. It might
Is
have
it
been-
up to 3 now?
It might be. Yeah,
His
we just finished it.
Yeah, he's his face what he can do with his face and
Oh, I
stuff.
know.
It's insane.
Yeah,
Insane. All right.
super good. That show's really good.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do you want? Oh, let's hit on your Jurassic World.
All right, yeah. So, I got my Prime Day discs, and as promised in the green room forums, the first movie I watched was Jurassic World Dominion.
Nice.
I watched the extended edition
Yep.
on 4K disc. This has DTSX master audio. Does not have Atmos like Kaleidescape does.
Nope. DTSX. Yep.
I won't go too much into the breakdown of this movie since you did a big breakdown and then you and Steve did another breakdown of it recently. But yeah, everything you guys said, home theater wise, this is incredible. 3 boxes of popcorn, sounds awesome, looked awesome. I actually quite enjoyed it too. Like, I thought the movie was pretty good.
Isn't it?
I now again, I've only seen the extended edition, and I don't know the differences between that and the theatrical edition.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it brought more story and made it a better movie. But
Right.
I actually, is it a perfect movie? No, it's not.
No.
But I mean, I found it to be pretty good.
It's
the
it's
story
entertaining.
The story was entertaining. And yeah, just awesome disc. I mean, again, 4K disc. It looks great, sounded great. I mean, I watched this at full reference level,
Ooh.
my wife and I, and it just thundered.
Yeah.
Every time one of the big lizards put their foot down or did anything. And I think you mentioned this when you were talking about it. Kind of like the lead up, like the kind of the base built up in different scenes when
Yes.
things were going to happen.
Yes.
I found that as well. Like,
Yeah.
you could kind of tell when something was going to happen because
Yeah.
it started to, vibrate and rumble a
Yeah,
little bit.
you got that
Um,
you got that feel coming. So like you actually were more engaged in the story
Right.
because you're like, oh, what's going to happen? Because your room
something's going to
starts
happen.
That's
Yeah.
the part I think was missing when I saw this in the theater, and I just wasn't. It just didn't grab me,
Right.
and it was just such a bad experience. Like I was just like, huh, okay. But
Yeah.
then, and when I saw it at home, I didn't see the extended version when I first changed my mind on it. I was like, wow, this is really good. But it was that sense of the scene's going to build from here where they use the
Right.
sound to really advance the room. And you're like, you were on the edge of your seat the whole time. And then now that you're invested in the story, you get an extended edition. And I was like, oh, all right. Now you just want to know more. And I think that if I had seen the extended edition first, maybe I would have been a little bit more invested because it had a better opening and it brought you into the story a lot better.
Okay.
So if
Like
you
I
haven't,
said, I don't know the differences.
yeah,
And this was a chunk too. Like, I think this thing ran close to 3 hours.
yeah, it's
the
like 20
extended
minutes
edition.
longer is the
Yeah, it's
extended. Yeah, it's
pretty
pretty
long.
10 or 20 minutes. It's a pretty decent amount, but a lot of it is the beginning.
Yeah.
You see a lot of it's a lot of more, detail on what's going on in the world and stuff.
Okay.
So you get a lot more. I think, so, in the what you saw in the extended edition, when they show the crew out at sea and the dinosaur comes
Yes.
up from underneath that's kind of where you come in the regular one, if I remember correct.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you
you're
miss-
like 5 minutes in.
Yeah, 5, 10,
5 or
yeah,
6 minutes.
5
in,
or 6
yeah.
minutes in, you missed out on a lot of stuff. But yeah, it's great. It's
Yeah, I really enjoyed the home theater part of it, but like I said, I actually enjoyed the movie too.
yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. Maybe it's because I had a lower bar because everybody talked about how bad it was.
Well, I don't know about everybody. I think was I the
But-
only one that told you? I'm like, I came
No,
home
I heard
from
from
that
a
and
lot
was
of
like,
people that it wasn't the best. I mean, it didn't do well in the theater. It kind of flopped, and
right.
It wasn't well regarded by most people.
I think it's
but
gained new life in home theater
It's when it
market.
started coming to the home theater, people started talking about it because it was a really good experience there.
Right.
And yeah, I found it, especially again being my first viewing and watching the extended edition and all of that. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thought it was good.
good stuff. Good stuff. And 3 boxes of popcorn. Nice, John.
Yeah.
And I use that too. All right, let's see. What do I have? Little quick my computer's going nuts here. Jack Ryan, episode 8 of season 1, 26 minutes. I had to make the note of this. I know I talked about Jack Ryan last week. I'm into season 2 now, really just absolutely loving it. But this scene here, season 1, episode 8, 26 minutes, a bunch of bad guys. They are all like celebrating, and they've got their, and I say bad guys because it's like the Middle Eastern people, and they've all got they're at their
they're all shooting into the air,
shooting their AK-47s or whatever, and they're all like, and they're just firing them into the air. But the way the sound, it was like all of that sound was like over your in the Atmos channels. You're just, it just sounded. I was like looking up like this. I'm like watching. It was awesome, and it's like as I'm watching, I'm like grab my phone. I'm like, what's the time on this? This sounds incredible. So yeah, season 1, episode 8. When the 4Ks come out, you could probably grab this scene on Amazon. Anyways, they have the Atmos there. Sounds really, really good. Won't spoil anything for you if you want to just jump and hear it because I mean, there are bad guys. They've got guns. You know, you've never
won't
seen.
Spoil the 3 or 4 year old program.
Yeah, exactly. Season 3's dropping in December.
Yeah,
so I'll be all caught up for that. Soon. Have you watched it at all, or are you like me?
No, I'm done and waiting for the new season. Yeah,
that figures. That's you.
Yeah.
Is there anything
I watched it when it was there? I watched it weekly.
Yeah. so looking forward to that. And you don't have anything. Let me touch on my last one.
I do. I have The Watcher.
Yeah, we're gonna do that together.
Oh, okay.
I watched that as well. So we'll do. I watched Dracula from 1931.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear about that because I picked this up too.
Yeah, I know you bought the whole set, right? I have I bought the whole set separately, but I've watched Dracula, and it's
which I heard was the worst of the bunch. Actually,
it was so much fun. It was so much fun because I haven't seen the other ones, so there is a noise floor to this that was so much fun that I actually like really enjoyed it. Like, and there's so much quiet time in this because it's the acting, the sets, the way they moved about, the set design and everything in 1931 was so slow. And who is it? Is it Boris Karloff?
Bela Lugosi.
Bela Lugosi. I'm sorry. I knew I was going to screw that up. Bela Lugosi. And when they close in on his eyes, you're like, how long are you going to hold that shot?
Right.
There's another one where they show a person's watch, and I think it's a pocket watch. They show it on the screen,
and you're watching it like tick all 60 seconds.
It's not. No. It's not moving. I think that's what it was. Whatever they show, it's a frozen picture on the screen. Wow. It's not like they held it up and just held on that hand.
Right.
It's a picture. So there's so much stuff, and then the acting and overacting or whatever they did. It's just the way it was back then. And that's what was so much fun. But that noise floor, watching it at reference level, and you just hear that hiss, which is what it was. That's what you heard. It felt like you, and there's almost like a rhythmic, like you could hear as well within the hiss. And I dropped it down to -5. I dropped it down to -10, and it kind of went away. But then when they talked, it went really quiet. It was like, I was like, no, I need that hiss. I want that hiss. I wanted it. It just felt. The grain, I thought, was really, I mean, it was consistent. It was really just what it felt like. And it's 4x3. You have the 133 to 1.
Is it? Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
I loved it. It was just like, it's probably not one, maybe I'll watch it. They're only like an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, they're not long. I can't wait to watch them, honestly. Yeah. I can't wait to get to them.
It's fun. And it reminded me of like, Saturday afternoons, Creature Double Feature. I've seen all of these, and it's like I don't really remember them 100%, but then they'll get to a scene, and I'll be like, okay. And it's an obscure scene where you go, oh yeah, I remember. That's where I remember that from. That and this that you could see a lot of. Now, again, I know I watched these growing up as a kid. Maybe I saw it once or twice on a set. If you were lucky, oh, Dracula's on. I can't wait to see that, right?
They weren't on all the time.
Right. So by the time like Bram Stoker's Dracula came out with Gary Oldman and Keanu Reeves and stuff, and you were like, oh, but now knowing both of these movies and going back as an adult watching Dracula, you're like, damn rip. It's not a ripoff. They know they were telling the same story, but
it's the same.
You're getting the same thing, and you see everything in there. What's his name? Who's the doctor? That hunts Dracula. Van Helsing's in here, and it's like completely different. A little different version of him. It's just really fun. You'll love it. I can't wait for you to see it.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it.
And if you're saying that this is the worst one, now I'm really looking forward to the other ones.
Well, the reviews I read specifically to the 4K transfers was that Dracula was actually not as good as the Blu-ray transfer.
Okay.
And it was because of the grain and some of that stuff.
I liked it. I'm like,
but the other three movies were actually better.
See,
I haven't seen them yet, so I don't know, but you expect it to be great. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't want this to look like Lord of the Rings.
It's 90. What is it? 91 years old now. It's an old movie.
1931. It's over 90 years old. And to think that like some of these characters, some of these actors were born in the 1800s.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You're like, what the hell?
Bela Lugosi had to be 35 to 40 years old when he did that movie, which means he was born in like 1890 or something, right? When was the book written? The book was written in the early 1800s.
Yeah.
He probably picked it up new off the rack. It was like a bestseller when he made this movie. It was like the new Stephen King book just came out.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know which. Well, we should pick one for next week because next week's going to be for like basically coming out right before Halloween. Next week's podcast comes out on the 28th, so we should do one of these together or something like that.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it. Maybe Frankenstein. We could do.
Sounds good. All right, that one now. All right, I'm done with that. So you want to do? Let's do The Watcher, which is another horror type deal,
quote unquote.
Well, you've seen the whole thing. Jen and I saw the first episode. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, so this is The Watcher on Netflix, 4K, Dolby Atmos. It is a thriller. It's not a horror movie at all, really. It's basically a thriller. I watched the whole thing. We're not going to spoil anything here, but I just found it an average home theater watch. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't anything spectacular Atmos wise. It had some moments.
Jen and I watched it. We watched the first episode in the theater. I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, this is right up her alley. She's going to love this. So I ran upstairs and I played the trailer for her in our bedroom and I was like, oh, and I just have a Sonos soundbar in there and I'm like, this is way better bass in the trailer and everything. Then when I watched the first episode, we both finished it. We liked it, but we're like, we could watch this upstairs.
We can watch this upstairs.
Yeah, we can watch this in the living room. It's not really that engaging.
Home theater thing. And honestly, super frustrating.
Oh,
super frustrating. Like, I don't want to...
The story?
Well, here's the thing.
I'm only one episode in and I'm like, everybody's an ass.
I don't want to spoil it for you. and this is based on a true story, but very loosely based. And, in a story where they never caught the person. So I understand leaving this somewhat open-ended, you know what I mean? Because, there was no resolution in real life. But, I really dislike the trend that seems to be coming in entertainment these days where we don't answer any questions at the end of a show. You know what I mean? Like, this thing ends... There's no season 2. Like, this was meant to be...
Just a one-off?
Well, as far as I know. But this was meant to be a one-and-done thing. And, like, you walk out of this with more questions than you walked into it with. And that seems to happen a lot more than it used to.
Right.
Like, if I give you my 7 hours of time Like,
7.
don't freaking leave me with no answers. You know what I mean? It's just like, I feel like, well, not to put too fine a point on it, but like, I feel like you brought me right to the edge and then you got a headache and walked away. You know, it's like, don't do that, you know? So
Makes me angry.
yeah. And then I went to the comments of this just to see if I was the only one. And like everybody's saying the same thing. It's just like
confirmation bias. Like,
yeah,
look,
but I mean, well, I already had my feelings on it, but
I know.
you know, again, there is no satisfaction at the end of this thing. Like
You
it's
don't
just so
say.
irritating, you know? And not to spoil any, you know, I mean, you still can watch it and I didn't give anything away, but it's like you just don't
Right.
feel like you got any answers when this thing is over with. And I don't know why they feel the need. It's like going even back to like all the way back to The Sopranos. It's like, man, I gave you like 60 hours.
Right.
You know, it's like, don't leave me hanging at the end of this thing. Like, I want to actually know what happened. I don't want to guess about it. You know,
That's so
so
great.
I don't know. My that's my review of this show. So.
Well, mine is I saw one episode and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, this is what happens when you're an ass. Because like
But like if you haven't
everybody was an
started it,
ass.
yeah. If you haven't started this show and you're a fan of like satisfying conclusions, then don't pick this one up because you won't get it.
Oh,
So,
hashtag bright side.
yeah.
Oh my God, that was great. Oh, John.
So.
All right. That's our review
That's
on
that's
The Watcher.
Yeah.
Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos. Don't be watching.
Yeah. You can watch it on your iPad. You'll be all right.
All right.
So,
You ready to get to our main topic? This is a little bit more cheerful.
yeah.
We'll talk The Untouchables in
Yeah,
4K.
4K.
4K
Again, I watched
release.
the disc. I'm
Yeah.
sure you watched it on Kaleidescape.
Yep.
4K Dolby Atmos. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I mean, it, again, not the most engaging Dolby Atmos track out there. You know, again, it's not Jurassic World or Top Gun Maverick. You know,
I thought it was.
but it had
The
had some.
music.
Yes, I mean it had some good stuff, but you know, I guess like we kind of always say now with these movies that are 35 years old, it's never looked better.
Oh,
You know, I mean it looks great. It's got that. It does have that grain to it. You know, it's a
yeah.
1987 movie, and
But
it
it looked
looks like
nice.
it's from
Looked nice.
1987. But I did see this in the theaters, but you know, again, 35 years ago. So for all intents and purposes, the best I've ever seen it, the biggest I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just great. It's just a great movie. I thought they did a great job with the transfer, and you know, it looked awesome.
Yeah.
So.
But see, I found that the Atmos was really good.
Did you? Like, I don't know what stands out for you. Like,
Okay, so
I mean, I'm sure you have more notes than I did.
Yeah.
I didn't take any. So
it's now again, it's not an action movie that you're gonna have
Right.
like it's not Jurassic World Dominion, of course.
Right.
And maybe that's what happened. You've come from that and you go.
well,
to
of course, I
this.
came right from that.
From that.
This was like literally the next disc I put in after
Right.
I finished Jurassic
So,
World. And I'm
I'll
not
agree
saying
with
it
you
was
there.
bad. I just want to, like, I'm actually interested to see what notes you took and like what scenes
Yeah.
you found.
So,
you know,
The opening
to
scene.
be that.
Okay, the opening scene, opening music, the drums were just so distinct and spread out, like further away than my walls were. It was nice, wide soundstage of that opening score, that opening music as they're
Right.
playing the credits and stuff. And then, and this is where I think, I mean, it really sets you up for the movie and how important the sound really was. Do you remember what they did? They went right to the silence. I mean, it was dead silence and
Right.
no audible hiss like you had in Dracula. Nothing.
Yeah.
And you're just looking down from the ceiling at Capone getting his, manicure, right?
Right,
With
with
the
the-
towel on his face. You
Yeah,
couldn't
and the
hear
little
anything. There was
Blurb.
there was absence of sound. Like they took
Yeah.
all sound out. Like, because people were moving and you couldn't hear a pin drop. You couldn't hear anything in there. So they went in, but that music that led up to that, go back, put the disc in and listen to the music and where the instruments are and how they're placed around your room. It was awesome. And that's all you had to concentrate on. Then when they gave you those visuals, they took all of that away and you're just staring at him. And like the first time you saw this, you're like, what is this? What are we looking at?
Yeah.
I found it to be very powerful. And when I first got the disc, that's what I noted. And then putting it back in, well, putting it on, I was just like, oh, this is so good. And then at like the 3130, I had notes on that one. The best shot, that's when we met Andy Garcia for the first time, and he was in the shooting range, and you get that. What I really liked about it was it sounded like gunshots. It was nice, but it also sounded like it was in a shooting range from that time period, like very echoey, very, discreet, but nice amount of echo. Speaking of echoes, I don't know where it is in here. There it is. I gave it $2. It's coming up later, but there's an awesome echo. And I'll tell you about it when I get there. But what about now? We've seen this since we were kids.
Yeah,
39 minutes, baseball bat, De Niro's walking around.
I mean
that clunk.
Yes, when it hit, I was just going to say clunk. When it hits the skull, it sounds like it hit a skull.
That was so. I'm like, and my notes. Pretty sure I've never heard them like that. Yuck.
Right.
Too accurate. I was like, it was bad. And it was like, I knew it. Obviously, we know it's coming. He's one. And it's like, and when you just see him wind up and you hear, that clunk, you can't even duplicate. I guess it's hitting a watermelon or something. It's supposed to be.
Yeah, I don't know what they hit, but it sounds like and I don't know what it sounds like to hit a skull, but it sounds, to me, that's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. You know what I mean?
I've pushed you pretty close to finding out.
Yeah, but I didn't have a bat handy is the problem.
Lucky for me.
Because then I could compare whether I'd be like, that's not really how it sounds. I can tell you.
I can tell you. DJ's not here to tell you, but
but I can tell you.
He heard the first one. He didn't hear anything after that.
But it was. I noticed it when I was watching it.
Isn't it? And at reference level?
Yeah.
Not good. 54 minutes, 30 seconds. You gotta die of something. That's what I titled it. It's the taking of the bridge. The score there. Again, the score in the whole movie, but that score there when they're riding to the bridge, you have the mounted police coming in, but the score just filling the room. Really, really cool. Really cool. And then at 1 hour, 21 minutes, 45 seconds, knife to a gunfight. And this is when,
this was a good scene, sound wise.
Yeah. Really good. When that Tommy gun went off, super sad. But then the opera music after that.
Right.
And what did you think? I mean, that was a nice comparison there. But as Sean Connery's crawling along and everything, you have that was nice. The opera, again, the score or whatever, but it's actually not the score here. It's the opera singing. But then what did you think of the visuals? I thought the red in the blood of when Connery was dying, when Kevin Costner's talking to him. And I just thought it was just so detailed. I just thought vivid of the brightness. And that's the other thing that I meant to mention earlier. The color in this, the color grading throughout this movie, it was very much like that time period. It felt like it had
it looked
that
like
sepia
the 1930s.
looks.
Yeah,
the sepia look to it, that warm. But then there were signs, like there was a street sign. I think it was Sean Connery's street sign out. It was very vibrant yellow, but then you had the vibrant reds as well in the blood and stuff. But it was almost very like they took the saturation of color down a little bit in most of the movie, like the street scenes and stuff. It had that sepia feel to it with the vibrancy turned down, saturation down. I thought it played really well. It made their wardrobes, their costumes for the time period. Everything looked just super accurate. Like almost like my memory feels like it was black and white, but it wasn't.
Right.
Right. Because the police cars, being the black police cars parked outside the station and stuff. But I just felt like that really played really well in the 4K. And then the HDR, I think, really enhanced those blood scenes, the vibrancy, and a couple other scenes like that street sign I mentioned and stuff. Right. Thought it looked really, really good. All right. This is that one I gave 2 boxes of popcorn to. 1 hour, 27 minutes, 30 seconds. Attention, please. So this is at the end when they're at the train station and you hear, so you're looking at the stairway and I think Connery's up to the left top corner on the stairs, but the microphone or not the microphone, the speaker that they're announcing out of it. So somebody is like saying, attention, please, the train will be departing.
Yeah,
they're
talking about the departures and the loading and all that. Yeah.
Well, that's on your left side, kind of off the front wall. So it came like halfway down. But at that 1 hour, 27:30, there's like a super discreet, and it's the first one on the right side of your room. It's almost like it was like perfectly mirrored, not like an attention. It was attention, and then on the other side you heard attention, like almost like just a perfect mirror image of it, but it was slightly delayed and on the other side. And I was just like, that was crazy. And then they do a few more and they're a little bit more faded out than that one was. But I was just like, it was a really perfect discrete echo on the other side, which feels like it should be that way because it is a very marbly place. Like you have the stairs and everything.
It should be a lot of echo.
Yeah, exactly. And then at 1 hour, 36 minutes, 30 seconds, this gets more to the visuals and everything. I think you saw my notes, brain matter. And when Andy Garcia finally takes him, which is the highlight pretty much of the movie. We all remember that when we were kids. Like, you got him? Yeah. And he's like, yep. And he's so calm and collected. And he's just like, take him. Bang. Done. And when he slides down that wall, and I always just thought it was like a blood splatter.
Right.
And you see it now, and there are chunks there. There are pieces. And you're like, I mean, obviously, I don't think I've ever seen it this big before, but yes, it's really like a lot of detail there. Much like I said earlier, too accurate. Yuck. Like, it really, really good. And then I ended with my last one was, here endeth the lesson, which is what he said to Capone when at the end right there, which is what Sean Connery had said to him on the bridge earlier in the movie. And I thought that was awesome. But really, really good. Great. When I saw that you watched it, I was like, oh, I got to grab some notes on that because I loved it too when it came out, and it's a great disc and great movie too.
Yeah, fantastic. It's a great movie, and like I said, I spent more. I just was watching it to watch it. I didn't didn't know it was going to be our topic of the week, so I didn't take any notes really. Yeah. But it was. It was excellent.
Yeah, definitely worth picking up if you don't already have it.
If you don't have it.
All right. Is that it for this week?
I think so. I didn't have anything else. So.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, mash potatoes that like button.
Yes. Somebody wants dinner.
I know. Exactly. Thanks to Steve for allowing me to fly across the pond yet again. Having so much fun with that. What a great addition to the show. As you are too, John.
Well, thank you.
I don't feel like you've been here all along. I really
I haven't. Well, it's because we've talked. Well, it's because we've talked every week for years. It's just this is a different.
Right. No, but it's like this is a great
show. But.
So thank you everybody for listening. It wouldn't be the same without you. It'd just be me and John yelling at each other.
Exactly.
Which we've done. So,
Yep.
all right. We'll be back next week, probably with some Halloween stuff, some fun stuff. Have a great week. I got a Takeover Tuesday, great Takeover Tuesday coming up again next week. Can't wait to sit down yet again. So much fun. And if you would like to participate in Takeover Tuesday, just email me or DM me. Listen to Takeover Tuesday. You'll see how easy it is. It's super easy. People are nervous, but then they get here and it's so easy. So just like every week, the people that are about to be on, they email me. If it's the first time on, what do I need to do? What do I do? Simple, easy. Like
just show up.
Should we talk ahead of? No. John, here's a good one. And this is 100% true because I get this question all the time. Should we talk ahead of time to go over what we're going to go? No. John and I don't even do it because John and I learned very early
to do that.
Yeah. It's off the cuff, spontaneous. Let the show go where it is. That's how John and I, we started out, John and I, where we would be like, okay, we're going to talk about this. And then we get there and be like, and it's not as enthusiastic and fun. So it's just spontaneous. Remember the show we did? Do you remember what it was about where we had to do it twice?
It was Wonder Woman?
No.
Or Solo?
No, Wonder Woman we did twice, but neither of those
Wonder
ever
Woman
made air.
we did twice. Oh, yeah, they didn't make air. But yeah, we would, if something happened, we would actually try to recreate the same conversation we already had.
And you can't.
And that was never good. Yeah.
That was Thor.
Was just
and
awful.
That one went out on chat.
Oh, was it Thor?
Yeah, I think it was Thor. And we did it, and something went wrong with the audio or something. And of course, I wasn't happy with it in my stupid head. And I'm like, let's do it over. And we did it over, and we listened to it, and we're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And it was like.
But I remember doing that with Wonder Woman as well, but nobody.
Wonder Woman was the one. Just, oh, man. That never saw. I don't even know if I have that copy, any of that anymore.
Right. There's no trace that it ever happened.
Right. But the point is, like, spontaneous is the best. And it's just, you just come on and we have fun. Listeners bring notes, and then they usually, we don't even get to half of their notes. And we've talked for 2 to 3 hours. And they're like, oh my God, I've got so much left. Yeah. It's because it's just fun.
Come on again. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what we're doing. So, super easy. If you love to talk home theater, fit right in. So come on down. Takeover Tuesday. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great week. John, what do they got to do?
Go push play.
Is right. Hey, Fred.
This has been a Hey Fred production with theme music by Jeff Bernhardt and Throne Vault Productions.